All right, and we're live, man. How you doing, Nick?
Pretty good. Yourself?
Doing great, man.
Good. And before I forget, happy birthday.
It's not till Friday.
I know it's not till Friday, but I'm probably not going to see it, so happy birthday.
This is going to air on Friday, though. So thanks.
Well, happy birthday. How old are you going to be?
36, I think.
Oh, that's right, because I met you when you were 16.
Something like that.
Damn. I
You're
was
not
just
that-
saying. I've known
You're
you
not
for
that
20
much
years.
older.
I'm 42.
You're not that much older than
No,
that.
I'm not.
Not a big deal. So, key to the season here. We got two things going on. We got fantasy football,
Fucking crazy year.
and we got playoff baseball actually about to start. I feel like
Another
playoff
2
baseball's
weeks.
actually starting earlier. Am I wrong on that?
No, it starts in a couple weeks.
I know, but it feels like it's starting earlier than normal.
Well, yeah, because the season was pretty much cut in half because of COVID.
So it's starting at the normal time
Yeah.
with double the amount of people, double the amount of teams, or whatever the fuck.
I think so, yeah. Couple
Jesus
extra
Christ.
spots open.
All right, before we get to baseball, though, dude, fantasy football. You wanna see my lineup?
Yeah.
I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
Yeah.
All right, check it out. This is who I'm gonna roll with this week. I decided no more tinkering.
Which one are you?
Northeast Stars.
On mine, there's a couple there might be one that I swap out depending on what happens with the player, but
Okay.
that's my first league. I'm in 2, so that's
All
my
right.
first one.
All right. Let's look at this. Oh, you got this little fancy thing here.
Yeah.
Look at me. Hold on. Let me close this too, just so we don't bog down any of the processing power. That should be better. All right, we should be good.
Why
All right.
aren't you starting Waller?
I'll tell you exactly why here in a moment. Yeah, I don't know about Galladay. I don't know about Galladay. If he's not healthy, he's staying on my bench.
Well, it depends. I might put in
I got Schuster.
well, that's that league. I don't really have another viable wide receiver in that league. I'm trying to trade Leonard Fournette.
12 teams?
10.
10 teams?
Yeah. I'm trying to trade
rough
Fournette
year.
For a wide receiver, but nobody's bit yet.
This shit's dope though, dude. I got Mahomes, Chubb, Ronald Jones II, which this might be his last week to do something
Yeah, I
both
know.
in Tampa and on my own roster.
Yeah.
Right now I have Chenault Jr. from Jacksonville because I really think he's going to pop here pretty soon. We'll see. If Galladay is healthy, then I'm starting Galladay, but I don't trust him either. Schuster, Diggs. I got Goddard starting. Tampa Bay. I got their defense going against Denver, and I got Butker as my kicker. I also got Gage, who's a viable wide receiver. I just picked him up. I got Wilson Jr. from San Francisco on the bench, and here's why I'm not starting Waller. 2 reasons. Number one, I already know he's a great tight end, okay? But he is a little bit streaky. Okay, people go, no, he's a number 1. Blah, blah, blah. I hear all the cases. I get it. You're all correct. However, 2 things. He will have bad games where he gives me 4.3 points because it's not a PPR league. Number 2, and this is the most important part, he's going up against Bill Belichick coming off a hot game on Monday night. There's no fucking way Bill Belichick is going to allow Waller to single-handedly do what he did to them last week.
I don't think the Patriots have the defense to because what Belichick likes to do is he likes to take the common denominator out of the game. And I don't think he has
your best weapons.
I don't think he has enough defense because of all the defensive players that took the year off because of COVID to take Jacobs and to take Waller. I don't know if Ruggs is playing. He's got an injury, so that takes a weapon away. So, but those other young wide receivers are gonna have to step up. The other one you had, the wide receiver
Goddard?
for Thursday, was it? He played for Miami or Jacksonville?
Gage?
Yeah,
Or
no,
Chenault?
not Gage.
Chenault? He's like a weird hybrid player. He'll go out of the backfield. He'll
What
go out
team
of the
is he
fucking
on?
Jacksonville.
Okay, if DJ Chark doesn't play, then he's a good play because Chark's dealing with an injury right now. But I'm telling you, man, Galladay is going to go off. I just know he is because the Cardinals have not played a good defense in the past game, the last 2 games. So
Gotcha.
That's why they look like they're such an elite. Now, if they were going up against Pittsburgh, I'd be worried.
Sure.
But no, you have a pretty good lineup. I don't agree on the Galladay and Waller thing, but I mean, it's a good lineup. Got some good players in there. Me,
Galladay, or you mean Goddard?
Galladay.
They're not in the same position. I got Goddard and
I know.
Waller at tight end, and that's who my dispute. And then
Right.
I'm just saying, if Galladay's healthy, I start him. If he's not healthy, he goes on my bench.
Yeah, I was gonna say Galladay can take place of that Jacksonville receiver.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yep.
So this first league I'm in, Breeze, okay, going up against Green Bay at home. If the crowd actually was able to be there, I think it'd be different, but he might be okay. James Conner, I think, is gonna have a good one. Smith-Schuster, I think Galladay plays and goes off.
Schuster hasn't done anything this year yet.
Yeah,
he's due.
No, he had over 100 yards and 2 touchdowns the first game of the year.
What? No, he didn't.
Schuster?
Did he? I got him on my team.
Yeah, when they played the Giants,
he
went for. Oh no, I'm sorry. He went for 69 yards, but he got 2 touchdowns.
Are you in a PPR
league? Yeah.
So how many catches did he get?
He got 6 that game, or no, 8 that game and 6 last week. Or 6 the first week, 8 the second week.
Okay, you're right. No, 6 catches, 69 receptions, 2 touchdowns. I still got 18.9 points out of him.
Right.
But then the following week, I got, what did I get out of him? 4.8 points.
Yeah, last week was a dud.
That was a disappointment, but he's a little banged up already. I'm expecting a bounce back, so I think that's still smart to start him.
Here's my other team. Mahomes, Kamara, Connor, Hill, Galladay, Mark Andrews, James Robinson, Badgley, and Chargers defense. I have Kareem Hunt, but I think James Robinson's going to go off against Miami, who are giving up an average of 125 yards a game on the ground the last 2 weeks. And the game against Washington scares me because their run defense is good, and they've shut down some.
Okay, you went really fast through that lineup. Let me just glance at it. This is your other team?
Yeah.
I got 2 teams too, but one team is the only one there's money on the line. So you got Mahomes, Kamara, Connor, Hill, wow, Galladay, Mark Andrews, not bad. Robinson, is that the
James Robinson? Man, he had over 100 yards.
Jacksonville?
Yeah, kid's good.
Bagley, Badger. Bitch kicker. I don't know anything about this guy. The Chargers kicker.
Yep.
And then the Chargers D.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you what, I don't know about the Chargers or the Chargers D or the kicker, but I'll tell you what, slight off topic, that fucking Justin Herbert kid can play, man. I was impressed, dude. I'm impressed. I think he's gonna work out. Have you
read the update on Tyrod Taylor? Like, what happened? His doctor was administering some pain medication in the chest area, and he punctured his lung.
Really?
Yeah, he's going to be out now for a few weeks.
He may never get that job back again.
No, the new kid is gonna start the next 3 weeks, and he's gonna solidify his position.
Yeah.
So I see the Chargers not winning that division because the Chiefs are in that division.
Right.
But I see him getting to the playoffs and possibly facing against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, here's my other league.
Roethlisberger, Cook, Drake, Hopkins, Cup, Ertz. My Balzac hurts. Miles Davis. You were able to get him.
Mike Davis, sorry.
Mason Crosby. I like looking at backups. Moss. What a disappointment.
So far. Till Diggsy gets injured.
Anderson's been having a pretty decent year.
Yeah.
Deshaun Jackson, no. Hooper, that's a disappointment too. Yeah. They're not utilizing. They're paying him a shit ton of money.
Hooper went off last year though. Got me to the playoffs.
Gibson. Somebody offered me a trade, James Robinson for Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, fuck you, no way.
I'm not even starting Gibson.
I know.
How do I start Gibson when I have Cook and Drake?
Right.
And then I have Hopkins, Cup, and Ertz, and then at the flex I have Mike Davis. How do I justify putting Gibson in there?
You know, you should pick up.
But I got to keep Gibson because fucking one of these other assholes is going to get hurt. You know what I memean? Probably
right.
Cook, and then in comes Gibson. But dude, check this out. Here's the point. I'm 0-2 in that season, or in that league with that lineup. With this lineup, with the first one I showed you, I'm 1-1. I got smoked the first season, dude. Because check out this crazy league I'm in. You remember Anwar? He was on the podcast.
Yeah.
he started this league. Look at this shit. Look what the Vikings defense did to me week 1.
That was rough.
Look what the Vikings did to me week 1. The Vikings defense.
Oh, my glasses. -10?
Negative 10 points. You can score negative points on defense in this league.
You can in mine. In both of my leagues, we play double headers, and they're both money leagues. So in one league I'm 3-1, and the other one I'm 4-0. The one I have Mahomes, I'm 4-0. The one I'm 4-0, that's my league that I started a few years ago.
How are you 4-0?
Because we play double headers each week.
What does that mean?
It means I play 2 opponents a week. Same lineup, I just play 2 different opponents.
How does that work?
You can set it up in the settings on the app, CBS Sports.
Oh, weird.
It's fucking cool, man, because you could be in last place with about 6 games left, and if you win all 6, that's 12 straight wins, and somebody could be in first by 11 games, and they could lose.
So you play 32 games in a season? That's
26.
Dumb. That's stupid.
It's not stupid.
It's stupid.
It's fucking cool. And everybody that the other league I'm in, I've been in that league for 15 years, and we've done that every year. My league that I've had for 3 years, they love it. Everybody loves playing that. And it's fun, man. And because you play 26 games a year, and then, in the playoffs, though, obviously, you only play one person.
So can you set 2 different lineups?
No, just one.
That's why it's stupid.
No, it's not fucking stupid.
It's stupid.
No, it's not.
So you have 10 teams.
Yep. It's a fun game. It's $100 buy-in. It's just fun. And half of the people that are in it have been in it since the first year. We've had
Keeper league?
Yep. 3 keepers a year.
3 keepers a year.
And you can only keep them for 3 years. After that, you have to give them up. So
that's stupid.
No, it's not. Why the fuck am I going to hold on to a rock star's entire career? That's not fair for everybody else. Give them away and get somebody else.
You have a 10-man league.
But you know what? 9 out of 10 times you don't wind up keeping them because you wind up trading them the last year. Say somebody gets hurt, you need to make a trade.
Yeah, because you have to get rid of them.
So what?
That's stupid.
So what? Go play your little ESPN bullshit league, and let me stick with my CBS Sports.
This is a competitive league I'm in, boy. You don't know what you're talking about.
No.
$100, 12-man team or 12 team league is highly competitive.
Plus, we're also a high scoring league. Like for the quarterback position, you get 6 points for touchdown, but you gain a point if you make a completion, but you lose a point if you throw an incomplete pass. Defense is pretty much the standard. Wide receivers and running backs, 1 point for every 10 yards, 5-point bonus if you rush for 100 yards, receive for 100 yards, or throw for 100 yards, or 300 yards passing on QB. But it's fun, man. I mean, I was gonna.
I'm just fucking with you.
I know. There was a spot open. I was gonna ask you if you wanted to join, but I remember the last time I talked to you about fantasy, or you were just talking to somebody. You said that it's too fucking frustrating and you don't want to deal with that bullshit. So I was like, all right, well, he don't want to play, so I won't ask him.
I play, but this is the first year I've put real money on the line, and it's a whole nother stress level, and I don't like it.
Hey,
I don't fucking like it.
I've been playing for 15 years. You know how many championships I've won? 1. And that was 2 years ago.
That sounds horrible.
But it's fun every year. I mean, it makes football, I watch NFL Red Zone while I'm doing work at home or laundry. I don't know, it's my thing. It's the one thing a year that I look forward to that I'm like, everybody get the fuck away from me for 4 months. Let me enjoy my football. After it's done, go back to whatever. So yeah, I mean, it's been a fun year. You want to play next? If somebody leaves the league and you want to play next year, I'll see if you want to join us.
I can't afford to fucking gamble that much.
You already did. You paid $100 to this league. What the fuck are you talking about?
Here's the point, though. Then it's $100 for another league, and another $100 for another league.
Wow.
Then suddenly I'm fucking in 10 leagues, and I got $100 in all of them. And then I'm like, this is fucking petty cash. I need the big money. And
January
and then I got a gambling
August.
addiction. No, then I start playing fantasy baseball and fantasy basketball and fantasy hockey.
I tried playing fantasy baseball. It's way
fantasy
too much work.
Curling. Drafted Jared Allen #1 overall. Woo!
Fantasy baseball is too much fucking work, man.
It is, dude. They're all too much work.
Nah, fantasy football's not that bad.
They're all too much work, and football's the only one I can tolerate. Seriously, there's 16 games. I can wrap my head around that. You know what I mean? There's 13 weeks in a fantasy football season, and then the 3 weeks of the
somebody
playoffs.
In one of my leagues just dropped. Good old Kirk Cousins. So yeah, fantasy football. I got a pretty good lineup. I like what I got. So
That's cool. I mean, fuck, dude.
I want to talk about. I've been watching this show for the last 2.5 weeks.
What show?
Hold on, I'm getting to that because I know once I tell you, we're gonna talk about it for a while. So I never watched this show.
Like you never have, or you just never do?
I just never have. I've watched a few episodes here and there.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones. I started watching it 2.5 weeks ago, and I gotta say, man, besides Breaking Bad, it's one of the best shows.
How far are you in?
I'm in season 6. I'm on episode 7.
Did you do it the way I advised?
Arya, huh?
So when people used to ask me about Game of Thrones, I'd go, listen, if you're going to start, watch the first season and then literally just start over and watch the first season and then let it rip.
I watched the first season about a year ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched the first season. It was more than a year ago. It's like 2 years ago. But I also read 3/4 of the first book.
Gotcha.
So I understood
who the characters
are.
That's the big point.
Now it does get more complex as the seasons go on. There's more,
Right, but then you're in it. You're less overwhelmed and confused.
But it's starting to take a direction where, because I know what happens. I know what's coming. I've heard about it, and that's the Battle of the Bastards. I know it's coming. But it seems like a different show after spoilers, by the way, if you haven't seen Game of Thrones. It's a big spoiler.
If you haven't seen Game of Thrones, fuck off with that spoiler shit. That's too late. You got a 6-month window for spoilers.
Once Joffrey died, it seemed like it changed a little bit. Because that was the battle of the 5 realms, the 5 kingdoms. And I felt like once he died, then the show kind of went in a different direction.
The War of the 5 Kings is what it was called, yeah.
But they don't really pay too much attention to Targaryen. Khaleesi, I mean, she's on maybe one episode, and then we see little 2-3 minutes of what's going on with her, and then it goes back to the Lannisters and the Starks, whatever. But I just finished that episode where they showed the girl that lives with the guy in the tree, how Bran found out that she created the White Walkers. She's the man, or the 3-eyed crow, a raven. They were looking for the 3-eyed raven. They found it was a man in a tree, and he had like a little assistant, this little girl. Remember, they saw her and they went in, or she saved him from the zombies that were coming up to the ground. And that she was the one that created the White Walkers. So I gotta ask, because it's kind of bugging me. I was gonna watch it tonight, but then you're like, you want to do a podcast? I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah. Is that true, or is that some bullshit? Did she really create the White Walkers? Because if that's true, it's kind of gay.
No. So that show, one of the reasons it captivated people is because fuck the books for a second, right? Like, whether it's the books or the show, the reason it captivates you is because there's lore, and specifically in the books, there's stories within stories. The entire thing is being told point of view, okay? POV. So it's better in the books because of the POV.
Right.
But the show is also still amazing. But that's why they'll jump around and you'll miss shit. So here's, in the books, it's definitive that they definitely didn't create the White Walkers at all. And how it ties into the show, because the show
who didn't create the White Walkers?
The Children of the Forest. That's who that little assistant chick so that's the last remaining Children of the Forest, which are very, very heavily talked about in the books, mentioned several times in the show. So again, if you really pay attention, that show is really like uncovering and figuring out a mystery. Think, you're trying to remember how history works, but it's all being told word of mouth, very little written shit over 15,000 years in that show, right? So the Children of the Forest, like all of these places and things and legends, they're talked about from different perspectives. So if you listen to certain people talk about it. They don't even believe in the White Walkers or the Children of the Forest. They believe those are fairy tales. Dragons. Are you kidding me? There's no fucking dragons. Get out of here. I'm not even sure. I think somewhere in the story, someone says, I'm not even sure there ever were dragons. You know what I mean? That's how long ago they were. I can't remember if that's a book or the show, but regardless, where I'm going with this is the general rule of thumb that most of us thought was that the White Walkers already existed, and they were slaughtering the children of the forest and men. So the children of the forest created the Night King to try and control the White Walkers. And then it got even worse, but it was the Starks and some other people that helped push the White Walkers back somehow, some way, and build the wall.
Which I hope that storyline in the prequel that's coming out, Dancing Dragons or something. It's a prequel to Game of Thrones.
They won't touch any of that. If it's the Dance of Dragons, it'll be
really.
It'll be.
You don't think so?
No, it'll be way at Dance of Dragons was. So the Dance of Dragons is. So think about it like this. So you know how like. You mentioned it's like the War of the Five Kings, and then the show kind of changed. It did. It absolutely did, and that's how George writes. Is like he has these huge chunks of histories in these enormous battles, right?
Yeah.
The Dance of Dragons. That's why I don't want to spoil it for you, so I won't jump too far into the show. But the Dance of Dragons is a part of history when the Targaryens settled Westeros, which is way, way, way after the Long Night. The Long Night is when the shit I just talked about with the White Walkers and the Children of the Forest and the building of the wall.
Right.
That's the Long Night. They were going to do that show, and it got canceled because it was too woke.
Too woke?
Yeah, you can. I'm not going to look it up on the podcast, but HBO said it was too woke, and that our viewers won't respond to this, and so they canceled the entire thing. They had Naomi Watts as the lead role. They had the whole thing casted. They filmed the pilot, and instead of making them retool it like they did the original pilot,
right?
I don't know if you know about that, but they shot the pilot of Game of Thrones, and then HBO rejected it and made them reshoot the entire thing. And when they reshot it, it got picked up and became a great show. When HBO seen the pilot for the new one, they were like, "Nope, too woke, canceled. Not reshoot, not recast, not rewrite. Nope, canceled. You're done." So
it's like it's still a good show, but it's hard to not hear the rumors of how bad it ended.
It's just it was way too rushed, and they definitely didn't end it with as much thought and care as George R.R. Martin wanted them to. They went full Lost on the bit, and it's.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
HBO offered them a full 10 episodes for both the last two seasons, full budget. I think even an increase in budget, and those two
salaries,
and those two, David and Damon or whatever the fuck their name, D&D is what we call them on Reddit. They're like, no, we're good. We'll do it in 13. They fucked it up, not HBO.
I think that 8 seasons is long enough. I mean, it's a great show, so I'll take 7 seasons over one bad one.
Right, but they rushed it, and the big is where people get really frustrated with that show is there's one book, and I can't remember what it is, but it's like either season 4 or season 5, might have even been season 3, but it's either 3, 4, or 5, should have been split into 2 distinct seasons. Like that one book should have been 2 seasons on its own. And that show failed because it's 8 seasons. It should have been a 10-season show. It should have been methodically planned out what parts of what books they're going to tell. But the books weren't done. So as soon as they passed George R.R. Martin with where the books were, as soon as they got ahead of the books, the show went off the rails. Because what made that show great is the dialogue and the words that were chosen.
Right.
So like very specific words of dialogue are chosen to either plant seeds, fucking do foresight, or what do you call it? Foreshadowing. Or what's the last word I'm thinking of? There's one more
Symbolism?
planting Easter eggs and shit. You know, like little nuggets of truth, little seeds, little clues. You know, like
Right.
fucking. There's a million things they did in that show well, but as soon as they were past George R. Martin's foundation script and dialogue, it jumps the shark pretty quick. Season 6 is still cool though.
I mean, it's a damn good show. It is hard to follow at times. You know, I'm not gonna lie. I've gone back and watched a couple episodes again. I've even had to read through an episode recap of some kind. But great show. You know, that's pretty much all I do is I work a lot, and then I'm either watching a show or reading a book. And I'm just about to finish up The Stand by Stephen King.
I've seen that movie a long
Good
time
book,
ago.
very long book, but really good. And play my fantasy football, man. I mean, I'm waiting for life to get back to normal.
I don't know if it ever will.
At some
man.
point.
It's definitely not happening anytime soon.
Or at least
Here.
somewhat normal.
So pull it this way. So like turn it away from you towards the TV. Yep. Now that little screw behind you. Yep. Loosen that. Spin it back to you. Go the other way. Loosen it. Yep. And then point it that way. Now tighten it. And bring it back to you. There you go.
Rock and roll. Otherwise, movies. Obviously, there hasn't really been all that much. They were replaying some classic films in the theater, which was cool. Went and saw Ghostbusters, Back to the Future in the theater. It's pretty neat. Otherwise, hopefully by Christmas, they'll be releasing more shit. Did you see Bill and Ted's Face the Music yet?
Nope, not yet.
What
I'm not going to movie theaters, dude.
No,
so.
you can get it. You can stream it.
Yeah, but I ain't paying for shit, dude. I ain't paying $20 for a fucking movie. I wait till it comes out on my
saw it for
streaming
free.
services.
Just download.
How'd you get it for free?
I have a few movie apps that.
I ain't doing that shit anymore. It's too difficult. Shit gets. It's too fucking tedious, dude. I ain't doing that shit anymore, dude.
It's not bad at all.
It's too much fucking pain in the ass, man. Fuck all that shit.
So, I was really disappointed, man.
I mean, of course you were. Your expectations were probably way too high.
They're not too high. It's just I was not expecting anything better than the original. I never do, but it just seemed
Bill and Ted's.
It's been too long. It just felt out of place.
The original wasn't even popular when it first came out. It turned into a cult classic. It bombed at the theater, if I remember correctly.
Popular among the kids.
Not when it first came out. I don't think it got popular till it went to VHS. I think you're thinking of the sequel that got popular.
I mean, regardless, you know,
I could be wrong on that though.
You know, they've achieved cult status. I felt some of the. I mean, it wasn't completely terrible. I mean, William Sadler was great as Death.
Didn't we talk about this last time on the podcast? I think we did.
No.
I'm pretty sure.
I wrote a review for it, and you said you were going to check it out, and I'm like, please do, because I'd like to know what you think.
No, I'm pretty sure we ended up talking about this with Steve on the podcast.
I'm not exactly sure, but other than that, I haven't really seen. I mean, they're putting a lot of shit on Netflix. Have you heard about that movie they have on there called Cuties?
I refuse to watch it.
I haven't watched it,
and I'm considering canceling my account because it's disturbing.
I won't watch that movie. I've watched a lot of movies that have really pushed the boundaries of should I even be watching this? Mm-hmm. But I won't watch that. I refuse to watch that.
Yeah, me too.
It's not even from America. It's from Paris, I think.
I don't know, but it definitely is sexualizing children, and I'm not into it.
Yeah,
I don't want to watch it. I don't want to support it. I sold my Netflix stock. I was like, I'm done with this. I'm not making money off this shit. I don't want to be a part of that. Plus, I wasn't making any real returns on that stock right now anyways. It was kind of sputtering anyways, so I was like, fuck it, I'll get out and reinvest it somewhere else. But
do you have HBO Max or
I do have HBO Max.
Disney Plus? Do that.
So I'm catching up on The Boys. That's what I'm catching up on right now.
On
and
Amazon.
I'm doing a horrible job of actually paying attention. I keep doing it where I put it on before bed and then fall asleep halfway through the episode, which is exactly what happened the first time I watched it, which is exactly why I didn't get into it, which is exactly why I was so fucking confused. But I did get sucked into the Umbrella Academy, and I watched all of that, and I loved that. I loved that show. I thought it was great. It's just the right amount of fucking goofiness, but seriousness, because there's a little bit of gore in there, too, like the way certain people die and shit. You know, so it's a little campy. It doesn't try to take itself too seriously. It's silly. It's fun.
Have you watched Doom Patrol?
No, not yet. Is that good?
Dude, it's so good.
Is it?
Oh, it's so good. It's not what you think, man.
Yeah.
I thought it was just going to be some random, run-of-the-mill superhero. Nope.
See, I like, how do I explain this? I like indulgements. So I either like comedies.
Ballers is a good one, too.
Yeah, I watch Ballers. I don't know when the next season's coming, if it's coming.
Either.
But I watched that one. I was a big Silicon Valley fan. Veep was great. That's like high quality HBO television, even on the comedy side.
Right.
And then I was really into like Breaking Bad, Game of Thrones, fucking Sons of Anarchy, really serious fucking dramatic shows.
How about Walking Dead? Were you ever
Yeah.
watch for that?
Yeah. I was a big fan of Walking Dead for a long time. And then what was it?
It's ending after this new season.
Yeah, which is fine. It's gone on forever.
Yeah,
and they have their little spin-off things, so whatever, and,
Right.
and they're going to have another spin-off series. It's a
Yep.
universe they created.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like really shitty TV. Not reality TV, but like shitty TV. So like The 100.
Yeah.
Love that show. Can't get enough of it.
Mm-hmm.
Really excited for Swamp Thing. That was one of my favorites when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Swamp Thing.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I loved Swamp Thing when I was a kid. I remember loving Swamp Thing when I was a kid. And when I saw the preview for that, I got so excited. And I don't even remember it. You know what I mean? I just remember he was a superhero. He was terrifying, but he was a good guy. And there's something about him and a really hot chick. And I loved that story when I was a kid. So I'm excited to check that one out. That one's going to hit here pretty soon, actually. And then all the Disney shit, I'm excited for the Marvel shit. But again, it's like everything right now, it's like shit I'm excited for.
Mm-hmm.
Like nothing good that I really think, nothing good that I want to go super in depth in, and nothing good that I think anybody else wants to hear about has come out recently. We didn't get our summer of blockbusters like we usually do.
Yeah,
everything.
You have COVID
postponed.
to thank for that. I mean,
well, we have
halted a lot.
We have the Chinese to thank for that.
We have a lot of projects
when
that
I
are
say
on
the
hold.
Chinese, I mean the Chinese government, not the people. I have no problem with Chinese people. Chinese people are just like other people. They're wonderful. I love them. They love me.
Their food is very good. I like their food.
The Chinese people love me. I love the Chinese people. They're wonderful. They're terrific. They're the best people in the world. I have lots of them. I mean, I employ lots of them.
Well, I mean, regardless of who did what, that's why we're not getting a lot of stuff. A lot of productions on hold, and it's
not regardless of who did what. The Chinese government is responsible for the release of this fucking virus, whether it's accidentally because it came out of the wet markets because of fucking wildlife farming, or it came out of a fucking lab because it was biologically engineered for fucking research. I don't give a fuck. It's their fault.
I'm not saying it's not.
We're not sharing your burden, China. You fucks.
China. We love China.
No, we don't love China. I support Hong Kong.
You don't support Japanese or Vietnamese?
Hong Kong is a province in China that China took back after they were their own democracy.
And that is our history lesson for today.
What, you don't want to talk about fucking Chinese politics?
Not really. See, I've learned some things as I've gotten older, man. I'm going to tell you what it is. 1, I don't talk about religion. 2, I don't talk about politics.
It is tough
and
to
3,
talk about religion.
I don't talk about politics.
It's really tough to talk about religion, especially for you, because, of how much you hate the Jews.
That is not true, folks. That is not true by any means.
Yeah, every time I'm hanging out somewhere, fucking somebody's got to go and defend the Jews and just piss Nick off.
Everybody is my friend until they give me a reason not to be my friend.
Except the Jews and the Chinese. I'm just kidding.
Chinese are not.
We're just kidding, guys. We're fucking having fun. We're just hanging out here. Jesus Christ. No, but seriously, there's nothing coming out. So there's like movies, TV. There's just not a lot to fucking I'm excited
isn't.
about a lot, but there's just not a lot going on.
I'm just thankful that they have football. I was afraid that the football season was going to be canceled or postponed or whatnot. And it may very well still be canceled later on down the road. You never know what's going to happen.
Absolutely not. Maybe college.
You never know.
Maybe college, but no, the NFL ain't stopping.
When do you think they're going to start allowing more and more fans into their stadium? I felt really bad.
We're going to end up with a full shutdown, and I swear to God, I promise you, football will be the only thing allowed to happen, and it'll be because people will go like this. Listen, for the pandemic, we have to shut everything down again, shelter in place. But if we don't let people watch fucking football and have one thing to look forward to once a week, we're going to have George Floyd riots every fucking day for the rest of the fucking winter. Because, dude, when flu season hits, that shit's getting shut down again. So I don't think they're going to open up fans for more people. I think they're actually going to go to zero fans, truly. I think everything's going to go back to shelter in place for a few weeks at least, or not, if not a month.
Yeah.
And but they're still gonna do fucking football, dude, because it's a morale builder. Like it's a distraction. It's a vent. Like you get so fucking mad on Sunday, you get all that anger and rage out of you. You fucking come turn around Monday, it's a little bit more tolerable. Or if the Vikings win, or the Texans win, or whoever your team is, they win on Sunday, makes your whole week go better. Fucking
so, like I
common sense, man.
I felt bad for the Raiders, dude. Brand new stadium, brand new city. First game of the year, nobody's there. Did win though, so that's a plus. But $2 billion stadium and nobody can go there.
Who gives a fuck?
I do. I mean, if the Vikings and Texans were going to play this year and the Texans were going to be here, I'd be pissed I couldn't go. I don't get to see them I've seen them once.
I don't feel bad for the Wilfs or the players. I feel bad for you, but fuck them billionaires, dude. Fuck them. Oh, they don't get to make more money.
My wife won't watch football now.
Why?
Just because
they won't stand for the flag.
Yeah.
Oh, Jamie.
I don't know. All I know is that come November 3rd, things are going to be pretty tense. Pretty tense, man.
Yeah.
A day I'm not really looking forward to. I mean, I'm going to do my civic duty as an American citizen and vote.
Let me ask you this. When you go to work every morning, are you forced to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem?
No.
And if you were forced, would you have the right to say, no, I'm not going to do that, whether you're on the clock or not?
Out of respect for where I live, whether I didn't, I would, regardless. I mean, because...
Not whether you would. Do you have the right? Because we're not...
Do I have the right? Well, ask me the question again.
So here's what I'm getting at. The national anthem has been saying before every football game forever. However, since 2008, before 2008, players were in the locker room while it happened, and it was for fans only. In 2008, the NFL signed a marketing agreement, an advertising agreement with the United States Armed Services, all four branches. And part of that sponsorship, so the military gives them millions and millions and millions of dollars every day. And now they make the players stand for the national anthem. The players don't get a cut of that money. That money's for the NFL and the NFL owners, right? It's called forced patriotism, okay? So when you and I went to school, in elementary school, and they made us stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, you didn't have to stand. As long as you were at a public school, right? If you're at a private school, it's a different story. But forced patriotism isn't patriotism, right? So meaning you never gave these players a choice, but it's also not in their contract that they have to stand for the national anthem. So it's kind of...
The only thing I don't agree with you on this one is the money aspect of it. Yes, the U.S. military pays them for advertisements or whatever else. Now that money is going to the owners, and who pays the players? The owners. It's kind of like if you strike a deal with Nike, they're paying you to represent their product. It's kind of the same thing because the NFL players are getting paid by the people that are receiving that revenue. You see what I'm saying? Now, whether you don't want to stand for it because of injustice and you're making a statement, this country was founded on the freedom of speech and the freedom of religion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that they should have to stand if they don't want to.
Right.
Because that's what makes our country so great, the freedom that we have.
Right.
So it doesn't bother me that some of them kneel. I mean, it's their belief. Just like I don't hate satanic worshipers. I just don't believe or support what they're doing. Right. That doesn't mean that I can't continue to say there's a satanic worshiper who owns, I don't know, a movie store.
Right.
And he has the best deals in town because I love movies. I'll go buy movies from him. It doesn't mean that I support what he's doing.
But it does mean you're going to hell.
I'm going to hell for other reasons than that. So that's what I'm getting at. I mean, I don't look at it as forced patriotism. Now, if the military came to their homes and knocked on their door and said, "Hey, every day you're going to have a soldier here with a gun to your head, and you're forced to sing or to say sing the national anthem and the Pledge of Allegiance." Okay,
so should your company be able to force you to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the national anthem every day when you come to work and threaten your job with it?
See, and that's where it differs. They're not receiving any income to promote that. You see what I'm saying?
But you either way, let's say they are. You didn't make that deal. You didn't agree to that deal. And it's not just a Nike sponsorship. It's a political statement.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I say it's forced patriotism. Because you're not giving them a choice.
Then no, if they said we're forcing you to do something that you don't believe in, then I wouldn't do it.
Right, and for me, it's as simple as that. For me, it doesn't matter whether I agree with Kaepernick or Tebow or not. I'm personally annoyed by it because I don't want to hear your political bullshit or your religious beliefs while I'm trying to watch fucking football. That's my escape from all of those things because I got to deal with that shit 6 days a week.
And I agree.
Right? In fact, I got to deal with it 7 days a week. I get 3 hours on Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, because here's what it's really about is like, especially during this season or this every 4 years, so we're in an election cycle. In between the game in commercials, I got to see political ads, right? And so it's like it's not even a point of privilege being like, oh, that's an argument of privilege being able to say I get to do this for 3 hours and not get bothered with the real world. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, dude, that's not a privilege. Like to only be able to have that. It's a privilege that we all have access to. And somebody's choosing to infiltrate that. So now I can't get out of this fucking political or religious rhetoric any time of the day because whether it's Monday through Saturday, right? Whether it's college football or pro football, whether it's before, during, or after the game, I'm seeing it in the commercials. Now I'm seeing it, on camera during the game. They're talking about it in the middle of the game. Like they're not even doing play-by-play. They'll skip an entire drive and just talk about fucking whatever. Mm-hmm. I just don't want to hear it. Like that's not what I watch football for.
Do you remember seeing this much political influence, say 2 years ago when you're watching football? I think you're seeing a lot of it now because it's an election year. But I think once the election's over, you're going to see less of it. You're going to hear less of it. Unless
I don't know
something happens.
I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I think everything's amped up during an election year for sure.
But no, I agree with what you're saying. I understand. It's annoying. It sucks. I mean, I can't even watch Gone with the Wind without getting an introduction on what it was like back then and the times. And I don't need somebody to tell me that. I already know.
Right.
It's not who I am.
Right.
This is, I understand. And that's the shit that bothers me.
Right.
Everybody's so fucking politically correct today, or trying to be, that it's interfering with shit.
Yeah. Well, and I think the biggest problem with all of it, though, is that this isn't happening. Like, we just had a normal conversation about it. You were like, oh, I understand that. That makes sense. I agree with that, at least. I mean, you may still not agree with me overall, but you're like, oh, that makes sense. I can see where you're coming from on that. I still don't fucking like it. I still don't want it. But, like, it's their American right to do so. And normally, I would say, well, you don't name one other company where you have the right to make political statements and protests while you're at work on the clock getting paid.
Right.
And then here's the reaction to that. Name one company that forces you to be patriotic at the threat of losing your job while you're being paid. Right. See, then it's like when a private company starts invading on your right to free speech and expression and you know, like a peaceful protest and assembly is you just being like, I'm not standing for that. Like, you could do it. Let's say you were against a war. I don't know what war, but let's just say we're in a big war right now, like a real war. And you want to you're so pissed off, and you're an American citizen. You're Nick fucking Durkin. You lived in 3 or 4 different states in this country. Like, you're just as much of an American as anybody else in this country.
Right.
And hypothetically, you're so fucking pissed off at the war. And every morning before work, you got to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And you're like, no, not today. I'm fucking done with this shit. And then your boss goes, you stand. And you go, no, I'm not standing for the Pledge of Allegiance today because I'm not pledging allegiance to a fucking country that's doing X, Y, and Z right now. Fuck that, dude. That's not what my taxpayer dollars go towards. I'm sick of spending my income taxes to watch them drop bombs on fucking hospitals and children's factories because we know that shit happens, right? We know it happens. So maybe that's what you're pissed off about. And then your boss goes, do it or you lose your job. That's fucked up because they're forcing you to not have an opinion under the threat that, no, this is a private company. Well, right, I understand that, but you brought politics and religion, same thing. If you're fucking let's say you worked for, because we're both brought up Christian, right? So I'm trying to think of things that we aren't affiliated with, but that were forced down our throats. So, like, for example, let's say you work for a Muslim company somehow because they're willing to pay you 3 times as much as you even deserve, right? You're making $250,000 right now. And they say, but you have to say Allah Akbar or whatever the fuck you say, Assalamu alaikum, whatever the fuck it is, every time somebody enters and exits the room. And you're like, that's not my religion. I'm not doing that. And they're like, well, then you can't work here. It's like, that's such a thin line because...
Are you seeing things like this? Because I don't...
No, that's what I'm saying is this doesn't exist anywhere except for the NFL.
But nobody's losing their job over it unless you're talking about Kaepernick.
Cap did.
But has anybody else? I mean, I think the NFL
Tebow did. Tebow lost his job because here's the thing: is these people then become compelled to choose between their principles and their beliefs or a paycheck. So Tim Tebow refused to back down. Right? He became a distraction. He became polarizing. He divided the locker room. All of these things can be said about Cap, right? And then when you're spending more time fucking on talk shows and fucking being a public figure and protesting and funding other things instead of studying the playbook and getting ready for the next game, the moment your play suffers, you're done. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's like if Michael Jordan would have pulled this shit, he'd probably be okay because he was Michael fucking Jordan. Right. But if he pulled this shit and then didn't perform on the court, you'd have bet your ass he'd had his job threatened too. So there's also that. You know what I mean? It's like, well, what are you bringing to the table? And unfortunately, Colin Kaepernick's record and stats were just decent, decent to very good. He wasn't even Cam Newton in the 15-1 season. Like Cam Newton could have probably pulled that shit that year. 15-1 MVP of the league. He's putting up the best numbers. But guess what? Even without the political rhetoric and the protesting and all that shit, still lost his job as soon as his production suffered. You see what I'm saying? So it's such a cutthroat league. You don't have time to bring any attention to yourself, cause any distractions. You really don't have time to do anything except your fucking job. And it's a short-lived job. Most of these motherfuckers only stay in the league for 3 years, Nick. That's the average, 3 years.
They've definitely gotten a lot stricter about a lot of things. That's why they call it the NFL, the No Fun League. Because they are just like, For instance, Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll. I mean, they both got tagged $100,000 for not wearing their masks,
Right.
and the organization got tagged $250,000. And they come up with these new penalties where your body can't fall on the quarterback. You have to have an arm holding you up, and you can't smash the shit out of him like you could in the 60s and 70s when you're watching Terry Bradshaw getting his ass handed to him as a quarterback. So I get it, and I understand, and I still think it's still an entertaining sport to watch. It's fun because, I'm in fantasy football, but I do agree. What I don't like, and this is what I don't like, you have been given the American dream. You have been given an opportunity that not very many people get. And on top of it, you get rewarded very handsomely. I mean, the league minimum is $850,000 a year. I'll take $850,000 a year. Hell yeah. And what I'm sick and tired of is they make these massive salaries. They're millionaires. They're set up for life. And what do? They cry and they bitch and moan about either I'm not getting the biggest contract or whining about...
That's nothing new.
I know. And whining about things that they have no business talking about. Like you were saying, keep it out of the fucking game. I'm not here to listen.
I don't want to hear about...
I don't want to hear about...
Tim Tebow's opinions on fucking abortion. I don't. Sorry, dude. Shut up.
When you're talking to a reporter, I want to hear about why you dropped that screen pass or how you missed that block. That's what I want to hear. So I agree on that level.
You're right too, dude. Because let me jump in right here. Because here's the thing: is like my boss, and I don't have a real job anymore. I'm trying to do this full time now. But let's say I'm still at the metal shop and I'm bending pieces of metal, and they go, Jared, you're allowed to make 1 out of every 10 parts incorrectly because of known variables. Mm-hmm. But you have 3 out of every 10 parts that's bad. Why? And then I go, I'm just so upset about fucking the way kids are being aborted and about how people are being beaten in the street. And, I'm sick of the fucking these Hollywood elites molesting kids. And they're like, yeah, that's all fine and good, dude. I get that. But you need to leave that shit at the door because I'm paying you for you to do this job. So I understand what you're saying. And that's how most people feel. And I think that's what people don't understand is a lot of people against the protests and the kneeling. Their whole point is we don't care what it's about. Like we don't get that privilege.
Right.
And these arguments are being thrown hand in hand with the words white privilege, right? Well, whether you believe in white privilege or not, here's how a lot of people hear that. They're hardworking, underpaid Americans in a majority white country, and they hear rich people, millionaires, working a dream job, bitching about things that they're actually going through, and then saying, you don't get it because of your white privilege. And these motherfuckers are going, look, I can barely make my fucking mortgage payment. I'm ready to kill myself every 3 days because my life sucks that bad. The only thing that makes me happy is watching football. I don't want to listen to a rich millionaire with 2 $10,000 diamonds in each year tell me how hard life is. I don't want to hear it because that's privilege. You have privilege. I'm sitting here watching this on an antenna because I can't afford cable. So I understand your argument as well. And I understand why people fucking get mad, dude. I'd be fucking mad too. I mean, that's the thing is I got to understand all of these situations and try to put myself in everyone else's shoes or I will get mad and lose my fucking mind. The only reason I'm not against that shit anymore, the protesting and the fucking kneeling, really is because it's like, okay, if this is, I see it. I live in a fucking poor neighborhood, right? Mm. Like, I see that shit. I see the cops not show up and let fucking horrible things go down. And then fucking something innocent's going on and 8 cops roll up like they're fucking saving the day and they fucking beat the shit out of somebody in their front yard. I've seen these things with my own eyes. But then when I call in and I'm like, hey, there's like 8 fucking teenagers out here and one of them's got a gun. Somebody's about to get shot. Y'all need to roll up. And they're like, oh, sorry. We're really backed up and busy tonight. And then 20 minutes later, some kid gets shot. And then all of a sudden there's 30 cops there. It's like, you could have prevented this crime. You don't care about us. But then when one of us does something small, like fucking my wife gets pulled over for fucking not using her blinker, there's fucking 3 squad cars and 6 cops that roll up on me because I refuse to give them my ID. Go fuck yourself. I'm not even driving. You have no right to ID me. There's no crime committed here. So you're willing to infringe on my fucking rights. This is why other people get frustrated with the words white privilege. Because white people go through this shit too. Anybody without money, anybody not in a rich neighborhood, anybody not driving a nice car, it really doesn't matter what fucking color your skin is, you're getting harassed and the cops are willing to violate your civil rights. Like, they do not have a right to ID you if you have not committed a crime or they don't suspect you of committing a crime. So they roll up on me, hey, let's get your ID. I'm like, I'm sorry, am I being suspected of a crime? They're like, no, we just want to check you out. I'm like, okay, well, that's not how this works. And they're like, oh, you're one of those guys. I was like, oh, you mean somebody that knows what their rights are? Yep, you're right, I am one of those guys. So
has that happened to you recently?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. In this neighborhood, multiple times. Like, it's ridiculous, dude. It's insane. And this happened before I was even in this neighborhood. This would happen in the suburbs. Fucking like, dude, it's the cops. Just they're overzealous is what it is. There's never an appropriate response until you get way out there and you're dealing like with a county sheriff and he knows most of the people in the town, and that's why those people don't think there is a problem, because they've never seen it with their own eyes. So again, it's just perspective. And if this is the only chance we have to seriously fix a problem we have in this country, which is the way police treat citizens, I mean, fuck, man, we got to do what we got to do.
Well, let me ask you something then, and I might be treading on not dangerous water, but a wave, if you will. Are you in favor of defunding the police?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
Because if you said yes, then again, it's your beliefs. It's what you think is best. But that would kind of upset me a little bit, just for the simple fact, and it upsets me because these people don't understand the ramifications of what you're doing. You don't know the problems that are going to happen when you do something like that. When you defund law and order.
Right.
You're going to see more murders in the street, drug flow, drug deals, whatever. And I don't understand it. I don't understand what defunding the police. If anything, they should be putting more money into the police for better training, better background checks, better psych evaluations. Like the saying goes. Like the saying goes. In order to make money, you have to spend money, in a sense.
Sure. Well, here's the thing: is the reason people want to defund the police, and why I said not really instead of just outright no, is because I know what defunding the police means and sounds like to most people. But the reason I'm not completely against it is because it's not about funding or even training or any of those things. It's about the fact that we have an autonomous group running around violating civil laws, civil rights, and not being held accountable for them personally, ending up right back on the force. And then there's a lawsuit against the city, and I got to pay for it.
Yep.
So it's really all about, for me, it's not about getting rid of good cops. It's about getting rid of an institution that has been corrupted and systematically set up with the laws in place to where if you shot someone, you would immediately be arrested. Then an investigation is done, right? Charges are brought.
Yep.
Then you go on trial. And if you're found guilty, you go to jail.
Right.
Then there's a civil trial. When a cop shoots somebody, they go live their lives for a week or two, sometimes forever. No investigation is done. And even if an investigation is done, even if they're found wrongful, like, no, you fucking killed that guy. You murdered that guy. They're put on administrative duty. Then there's a union that comes in and appeals that, even though they were found guilty, right?
Right.
Charges are brought against them. And then in court, they use something called qualified immunity, which is one of the most confusing, convoluted, disgusting things you'll ever read in your life. And basically, the police station, the police department will be found guilty and be held accountable, and they'll be fined. And the individual officer won't be. And once that happens, that's when the lawsuit is paid out millions of dollars. Who pays for that? Me.
Yeah.
Why am I paying for you to fuck up at your job? It doesn't make sense. And we don't have any, somehow this fucking system, the city and state police, right? Somehow over the last 100 and something years has been set up in a way where we can't do anything about this as people. Like, they have control over us, and there's nothing we can do about it. So we can't just say, oh, we'll give them more money and give them more training. That's not the problem. The problem is when they do fuck up, they aren't held accountable. So there's a lot of options on the table that are all under the umbrella of defunding the police. So here's one, and this is one of the most common ones. Because believe it or not, the Minneapolis Police Department is technically a private company, and they operate on contract with the city of Minneapolis.
Right.
We want to break that contract and stop funding them and give some of that money to the sheriff's department of Hennepin County, to more social workers, so fucking cops aren't showing up for every single call as a first responder. Like, when you call 911 and it's not a fire, you don't get a fire truck. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So why is it when you call 911, you always get a cop? You don't always get an ambulance. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So cops shouldn't always be first responders, but we still need a police force.
Right.
So the theory is you defund this Minneapolis Police Department, you give that money to the Hennepin County Sheriff. That immediately makes every cop, good or bad, on the force lose their job, and they have to reapply with the Hennepin County Sheriff. Why is this better, you say? Well, there's only one reason it's even a little bit better, is because the Hennepin County Sheriff is an democratically elected position. So if the Hennepin County Sheriff fucking starts murdering people, we can literally get rid of the leader. Just vote for a different person.
Right.
And the deputies are appointed by the sheriff. So you get a new sheriff in, he cleans house, gets rid of the bad cops, boom. The problem with only having a sheriff is that elections and offices can be easily corrupted, bribed, bought, and sold.
Right.
So that's why we started the state and city police, for consistency, because they were impervious to election fraud, right? But that institution became too impervious to change. And so it got institutionalized, and you see all these mass rampant levels of corruption at every level in every police department. So until we figure out a way to reinstitute a city police without qualified immunity, so the fucking city isn't forking out $30 million every time they murder someone. No, that cop has to carry personal insurance. Like my wife, if she's a hairdresser, has to carry personal insurance. So if she fucks something up, the salon isn't exclusively held responsible. You see what I'm getting at here?
Right.
But they don't have to do that. So defunding the police is a badly worded umbrella for a bunch of ideas to fix the problem, but they all start with, if the union and the police department aren't willing to come to heel and bend to the will of the people and not the other way around, because this isn't 1942 Germany, our only option is to pull your money. That's how America works. Money talks, right?
Yep.
So fine, if you're not going to stop fucking doing this, if you're not going to change your ways and listen, because I hate Mayor Jacob Frey, but he did try to change the training. There's something called warrior training, taught by a guy who was never a cop, never a soldier, never fired a weapon, never killed anybody, has no idea what the fuck he's talking about, and he's running around doing all the psych training, and including the Minneapolis Police Department. Mayor Jacob Frey was like, you can't do that anymore. Bob Kroll of the police union stepped in and was like, fuck you, we're doing what we want. That's the problem. We have no control over these people.
Right.
They're a group that operate on their own. They listen to no one. They don't have to, because somehow, some way, and it's not magic, it's Joe Biden, 1994 crime bill and several other bills that he signed, wrote, and endorsed set legal precedents over years, combined with a bunch of court rulings across the country.
Right.
Yeah, it took, so what are we at, 25 years, 26 years? That's how we ended up in this spot. And unfortunately, we have a badly worded phrase called defund the police that's a blanket term for a bunch of ideas. And the problem, here's the biggest problem with it. Mentioning the idea of defunding the police has emboldened criminals and protesters and rioters. It has shaken the security of those forces, and it's emboldening people, and you're already seeing crime skyrocket. So unless you have a perfect plan in place before you pull the funding, you better have if you go even 2 weeks without cops because they're all applying, you know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
No, I'm not, dude. I'm not telling you you're wrong. I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm just saying it's not as simple of like, just get rid of the cops. That is not what they're doing. They're trying to do a bunch of shit. So like, oh, there's a guy who's running around naked in the street. Does he have any weapons? No. Send a social worker and a fucking paramedic. You don't send a cop who's going to taser the guy, give him a heart attack, and kill another person.
Right.
Like, that's what they're trying to do, is shit like that, right? Like, and the cops should be for that shit. Cops don't want to go wrestle naked people. They want to go catch bad guys.
Yeah.
They want to catch rapists and murderers. Cops don't even want to ticket people on the fucking road for speeding. You know what I mean? I mean, a lot of it, the biggest thing is this, along with COVID, along with the protests, all of it is, it's the words, the rhetoric, the truth. It's all being disguised and weaponized for each party's own political gain.
Yeah.
So you have disingenuous Democrats saying they're for defunding the police because they think it's trendy and a good thing to say right now. You have Republicans that know we have an issue but refuse to back down because they're afraid they'll upset their constituents. I mean, it's classic politics, dude. It's just disgusting, because you'd think these are things that America typically in the past has been able to unify and galvanize over, and you're seeing that in my neighborhood.
Right.
Like, we didn't fall for the race bait bullshit. We didn't continue the riots. We fucking shut our shit down. We're like, we're good. We got to figure it out. Sorry about that, guys.
What do you see happening on November 3rd?
All hell breaking loose. I imagine the earth opening and demons will start fucking flying around.
And why?
I imagine it.
Why?
Well, I do think Trump's going to win.
Okay.
I think that is going to fucking make the left lose their mind. They already lost their mind in 2016 when he won once.
Yeah.
They're going to, and the thing is they're going to try to claim voter fraud.
Yep.
Which is going to get people more riled up. And when they realize it wasn't voter fraud, they're going to turn on the rest of the people. They're going to stop blaming Trump. They're going to stop blaming the media. They're going to start blaming people who voted for Trump. And they're going to want a war. They're going to want a war. And if Biden wins, which I don't think he will, I think it's hilarious that people think he's going to win. And I think Trump might even win Minnesota. But regardless, I'm trying to answer your question as short as possible.
No, I was just thinking the word landslide just kind of keeps coming to mind.
I don't think it'll be a landslide. I think it'll be close enough to dispute on both sides. I mean, do.
Isn't it true Biden is starting to show signs of dementia?
I'm pretty sure he's got dementia.
Dude, you watch some of these interviews he does. It's like, what planet are you on, bro? What planet are you on?
He cracks me up. He's a fucking mess.
I mean,
dude.
I love watching the videos because they're funny, but I mean, are the Democrats that? Are they that desperate? You're putting this guy out there that he doesn't even know where he is half the time. I mean, what are they doing? There was nobody better. I mean, I was surprised that Hillary Clinton didn't run again. Because
people
honestly,
hate her.
Well, I honestly think
That's
that
why
if
she
she
lost.
ran again, I think
She would have gotten smoked.
I think she would have won.
No, she'd have gotten smoked because people hated Hillary Clinton. Period. End of story. They despised her. And she built her entire campaign on, I'm not Trump. It's me or that. And then all she did was go on the attack, right? Trump went on the attack and tore Clinton apart, but also campaigned on his own platform. Here's what I'm going to do. Here's how I feel about China. Here's how I feel about immigration. Here's how I feel about the economy. He fucking won.
Wouldn't it be something?
Biden's doing the exact same thing. No, Biden's entire platform is, I'm not Trump, which is going to lose you the election. Like, he's going to lose. And I'm telling you, if somehow he does win, the Trump administration is going to challenge the election, which I don't think is going to be handled by Inauguration Day. And if he refuses to leave on Inauguration Day, dude, you're going to see a lot of people who've been silent for the last 4 years that aren't Trump or Biden supporters. They're American patriots. They're going to go, nope, that's not how it works. You lost, you leave the White House, and then you dispute the election and you continue to investigate afterwards.
Right.
You don't get to stay. And, dude, either way, I think we're headed for a full-on civil war. So you better gun up.
I know that. I told my wife that, and I've told a couple family members, once November comes around, we're going to see something we haven't seen yet in a negative way.
We are literally in unprecedented times in the history of our country.
You know, it worries me because not so much for myself. I mean, I can defend myself, and I know I'm smart. I know where to go, where not to go, and where to stay away from. I'm worried about my kids, man. You know, because it's going to get to the point where people aren't going to care who they're going after, man, woman, and child.
Right.
And we're in very scary and perilous times, man. And it hurts me to see my children having to grow up in this world. It's nothing like it was when we were kids. Nothing.
You know, our parents said the same thing.
Right. But you know what, man? And it's true, because I was talking to my parents about a month ago, and they said the same exact thing. Back when I was a kid, I could be outside till the lights came on at 9 o'clock. No problem. I could be gone all fucking day. No problem. I'd walk in the door at 9:30. Hey, how was your day? Blah, blah, blah. Today, I can't even let my daughter go down to the park without having to sit outside and watch her. Because the world has become such a fucking cesspool in a big dirty toilet.
Yeah,
and
you're right, dude.
And now when
I think we're seeing more of it, which makes the perception even worse. I think this is how it's always been. You just didn't,
it's just been behind closed doors more.
Yeah, you just didn't know. You know, it literally took the invention of mainstream television before we started hearing about this shit regularly, and it really started with Jacob Wetterling. He was the first one everybody heard of, right?
Right.
There was very few abduction cases that were famous before that. I mean, you got the Lindbergh baby, you know what I mean? You've got famous abductions, but Jacob Wetterling is like the first one that seemed to, like, almost like, if you're comparing him to murders like Jack the Ripper, like he said, I gave birth to the 20th century or some shit like that, some wild fucking, or the 19th century, some crazy shit like that. And that's kind of like what that was, where it was really just something so insane and so heinous that people started looking for it more and seeing it more. Like, you know, you buy a new car, you start seeing everyone drive that car. You never seen that car before, and now you own it. Now you see it all over the place. That kind of shit, you know?
Right.
So, I mean, because by every measurable metric, the world is actually a better place than it's ever been. You know, one of the weird stats is that there's more people in slavery now than in the history of the world, and I believe combined. I believe there's more people that have been in slavery or put into slavery in like the last 100 years and currently than the entire world combined up to that point. But there's more people now. So there's actually the lowest percentage of people in slavery that has ever existed on the planet. So, yeah, I mean, by every measurable metric, things are better than they ever have been. But it doesn't seem that way because you have instant access. I mean, police brutality has been going on since the 50s and 60s in a horrible way. But
Right.
now, if you follow the right fucking Facebook pages, you can get 3 new ones a day.
Yeah.
And again, that's another reason I don't think people understand the police brutality issues, because like they're just not seeing it. Because I literally follow a couple pages on Facebook every single day. I see 3 people that are either brutally beaten or murdered by the cops across the country. At least 3 a day, and I bet you there's a lot more. Those are just the ones that I'm able to see because I happen to be following those pages. If
Right.
you don't follow those pages, you only know about the George Floyds. So you think this thing happens once a year at most. And it's like, no, this is an everyday occurrence.
Right.
We're just now seeing how freaking rampant it is, but you still have to go look for it. Someday, I don't know if it can be more consolidated. I don't know if you can digest information faster or more at the ready, unless there's just more cameras, I guess you could say. Because the internet's been around for a long time, but people didn't have HD video cameras on their phone 20 years ago.
Right.
They do now. So when Kyle fucking, what's his name, Rittenhouse fucking shoots 3 people in Kenosha, Wisconsin, there's 7 different angles of 3 parts. You know what I mean? Like you could put together a short film based, you know what I mean?
Right.
That's the big difference. Is like everybody's got a camera now, and in these times, everybody knows to be filming. That's another big part of it too. People are ready to film because our phones are made for it now. Boom, people start hearing shit go down. Nobody runs and gets the cops. Nobody picks up their phone and calls the cops. They bust open their phone and they start filming.
Yep.
That's fucked. You want to talk about where society's at? What's up with that? We all got cell phones in our pockets. We see shit going down. We don't call the cops. We start filming. That's something that's really fucked, and that's on us because that's a society thing. That's not the cops. That's not the government.
It's the culture that's been created over the last 10 years.
Yeah.
You know,
I want to have the video that goes viral.
But yeah, and I was just about to say that's why people do it. They want to be known. They want to be famous. They want to make money, and this is a very easy tool to get that started because all you got to do is press that little red button, and now you're an internet sensation.
And if you do it right, you don't even have to open your phone anymore.
Right.
There's certain ones you can just shake the phone or fucking, touch it,
sick.
hit a button, boom, and
It's sick. I mean,
it is what it is.
And that's another part of having to protect my children that we didn't have when I was a kid. Now I got to make sure that people aren't, reaching out to my daughter online.
Yep.
And those predators online. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess what I can say is, and I'm sure a lot of parents out there that watch this can understand, you start to become more aware, and you start to become more what's the word I'm looking for, sheltering of your children, and trying to protect them more, and freaking out more about stuff like who is she talking to on Xbox, who is she talking to on her phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Which in turn,
being catfished, all of that.
Which
shit.
in turn makes my children resent me because now I'm invading their privacy. Well, I have to.
Mm-hmm.
I have to invade my privacy because kids sometimes don't tell you what's going on.
Right.
That we just had an incident where my daughter was talking to somebody online, and I don't know how it happened. I mean, I have my thoughts on it. Somebody stole her information online and charged my wife's credit card. It's like you got to be watching all the time. And that just doesn't happen to kids only. It happens to adults too. But kids are more open to share information with somebody that turns on a friendly voice.
Right.
And that's what I meant by this world is just, to me, it's just a shithole. Because I remember when I was a kid, life was easy. Yeah, you're a kid, but even in the early 90s when I was a teenager, life was easy. Everybody got along.
Mm-hmm.
All anybody ever wanted to do was smoke weed, get together, laugh, and that was it. Listen to good tunes, and that was it. But today, it's not about that.
Right.
Now it's about, okay, I'm going to the store. Am I going to get into a confrontation with somebody because I'm not wearing a mask?
Right.
Or because somebody, an acquaintance of mine, wanted to get into a little discussion about current events and they don't like what I have to say? Or the biggest problem of them all, social media.
Yep.
Social media is where everybody goes to be the nastiest they can ever be. That's where people show their true colors, in my opinion, is online.
Right.
These comments people make, these posts that they make. Yes, I've made political posts in the past, but like I said earlier, I respect your opinion.
Right.
I respect it because it shows that you are your own person and you have beliefs. You're not one of those people where you're just like, well, fuck it, I don't care, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care about anything, Or I have respect because you don't go with what is the trend and what's hip.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
It's just, it really sucks. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I wish I had these when I was a kid. There's some cool shit you can do online, social media. You get to talk to people that
you fuck if you're an entrepreneurial industrialized fucking industrious. Sorry, if you're an entrepreneurial industrious little 8-year-old, you could be making $100,000 a month on Facebook right now. Or whatever. Like we couldn't do that when we were kids.
And that's
you had to get discovered and get signed. Like,
and to go back to what we were saying about football and all that kind of stuff. And that's the thing that upsets me the most. Like you said, you're struggling to make ends meet on certain things, but you're thankful and grateful for the things you have. And we live in a country where there are so many opportunities, and all people can do is stand in the way of traffic, burn down independent businesses or big ones, destruction and hate. That I don't understand it. Am I saying that there is no social injustice out there? Absolutely not. Am I saying that there's no racism and things of that nature out there? Absolutely not.
Right.
I believe it's there just as much as the next person, if not more.
I mean, I think a lot of motherfuckers are just opportunistic fucking anarchists, basically. Like, they see shit going down, they see an opportunity, and they go fucking take it. And I think the political parties do the same thing. That's the problem, is I don't see any difference between the rioters and the looters and the politicians. I really don't. One wears a suit, one goes out in a mask. They both put different clothes on. One goes out at night, one fucking meets in a hall, and we never know what they're talking about.
Right.
Unless you can somehow stomach C-SPAN for 16 hours while somebody filibusters.
Right.
Like this shit ain't easy to try to like figure out why certain people do certain things, except for they're shitty people, and that's most people. Most people are shitty.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why, like, in certain religions they talk about, like, it's not what you do when people are watching, it's what you do behind closed doors. And that's what people think happens at night. That's what people think happens during a riot. Oh, there's chaos, nobody can see, let's go do what we want, fucking blah 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 blah. And then there's people that take that and they weaponize it. They find a Trump supporter's house, right? And they're a Trump supporter, but they go, oh, you know what we got to do? Let's burn this motherfucker's house and put Biden plus BLM on his fucking garage door. Like, fucking Black Lives Matter protesters going down and burning down Trump supporter's house. If anything, it's somebody else trying to pose as a Black Lives Matter supporter. Like, black people are not stupid enough to start a fucking race war in fucking suburban Minnesota. It's not happening. I guarantee you whoever started that fire is a white person. And it's a white person, probably either a fucking anarchist, a boogalooer, an Antifa guy, or a fucking far right-wing extremist. Like, that's what I'm talking about, is chaos sows opportunity. And that's when you see those people's true colors. It's fucked, man. It's fucked. And it doesn't matter what your belief system is. Sorry, man. We're all probably one of them. It's just a matter of when we decide to fucking pull that trigger.
Right.
Like for you, it might be after the apocalypse already starts and you and your family and your kids haven't eaten for 2 weeks. And you're like, our only source of food is going and taking it from that group over there. And in order for me to do it, I'm going to have to bash that guy's skull in. You go, oh, I hear a lot of people, oh, I'd rather fucking die than live in that world. Yeah, until you're fucking there. Yeah. And then you'll be surprised how much you're willing to do to live and eat.
Yep.
So, I mean, just like, I guess that's what I'm really getting at with this whole thing is I'm not surprised by any of this. None of this shit surprises me because this is what people have been doing for thousands and thousands of years. You just see it executed with new technology.
Right.
And we don't have to keep hammering this, dude. It's not the most fucking uplifting conversation. It doesn't make for the best podcasting, but I don't stay away from it because so many people are thinking these thoughts and they don't know what to think either, and like they're trying to pick a side. Don't pick a side. That's what I'm really getting at, is don't pick a side, because if you pick a side, red or blue, Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter or No Lives Matter, whatever, Blue Lives Matter, if you pick any of those teams, you're already losing.
Right.
Because none of these groups are 100% correct or 100% wrong.
Right.
We got to get back to that rational thought, which is like, no, the Republicans are right about a lot. The Democrats are right about a lot. Let's take the best of both worlds and execute that. That's what used to happen. It doesn't anymore.
Right.
Now the other side's evil. Get over yourself.
It's all about power, man. It's all about power. Who can have the most power and control the mass?
That's what it's always been about. That's what I'm saying. That's nothing new. None of it's new. Anything we talk about, I guarantee you I could find an example of exactly that happening in the past. Except for a potential. I don't know. I don't even want to try to quote that because I could probably even find that.
Well, let me ask you another question that I'm sure we can get in depth with. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year?
I think I gotta go with the Chiefs again. So you and I kind of got into this before, right? A couple of years ago, and I don't like going full on Super Bowl because it's too hard to predict.
Right.
There's too many. I like doing the AFC NFC championship games. So I see in the championship games either I'm going to kind of cheat this a little bit. It's going to come down to, in the AFC, it's going to come down to 4 teams. It's going to come down to Kansas City, Baltimore, Tennessee, and New England.
You don't think Buffalo's going to be in that 4?
No. Maybe they are, but I mean, I can't add another one in there. Otherwise, I'm picking half the NFL at that point, And in the NFC, it's going to come down to, I think it's way more wide open.
Mm-hmm.
But the teams I really like right now are Tampa Bay, Seattle. I don't believe in Dallas. I never will. Probably those 2. I don't believe in the Saints anymore. I mean, come on. If you lose to the Vikings in the playoffs 2 out of 3 years, you ain't shit.
Well, they just lost to the Raiders, which is very
twisted the other way first. Twisted this way first. So you're tightening it up. Yep, now loosen it, spin it all the way back that way.
I can't believe that the Saints lost to the Raiders, to be honest. I really thought that the Saints were going to pull that one out, especially when Richard fumbled the ball and they had the opportunity to tie it. I just think right now that they're knocking the rust off because there was no preseason. There was no preseason games. They didn't have long for training camp. I think by mid-October, you're going to start seeing the Saints flourish, especially when Michael Thomas comes back. I think that's an issue for the offense. Their defense has some shit to sort out. Their run defense is terrible, and they can't cover a tight end to save their life. So I think NFC will be with the 4. It'll be Saints, Buccaneers, but I don't feel good about that one. I really don't. Washington, and Washington, and Cardinals.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I think you're
Washington.
I think you're going to see him turn it around. If I take Washington out of the equation, I'm going to say Packers.
Arizona?
Hell yeah. Have you seen what they're doing lately? Their defense has stepped it up, and their offense is a lot better than it was last year. Arizona is going to win their division, and Arizona, I would not be surprised if they made it to the NFC Championship game.
NFC Championship.
That's what I said. NFC.
AFC.
I did not. I said NFC Championship game.
It sounded like you said AFC.
Well, I said NFC.
We'll find out. We got it on record.
Yeah, that's right.
Dude, you're insane. Washington and Arizona.
Well,
now,
take Washington out of the equation. I'll put the Packers in.
If you want to pick one of those 2 as your dark horse, fine. I can get down with some shit like that. But come on, dude.
I think that their defense is a lot better than what we've seen, and I think Dwayne Haskins and McLaurin and the running backs Gibson. They just got to find their groove. You got to remember there was hardly any training camp and no preseason. I think a lot of teams that look bad right now are going to turn it around because they're
So
starting.
what about the Vikes then?
The Vikings?
Yeah.
At best, I think this year they're going to go 4-12.
See, I got them on 7-9 because Michael Pierce is out. You bring Michael Pierce back, the Vikings go 11-5 to 12-4 possibly.
I'm going to have to respectfully decline.
7-9. Bet your fucking ass they go
Houston,
7-9.
Houston,
maybe 6-10, but 7-9 is.
I think Houston will go 6-10, and I really hope after the season's over, Bill O'Brien gets fired. I think him trading Hopkins was the beginning of the end.
It made sense though. You can't keep them all, and you got an expensive free agent.
You find a way.
Nobody's ever won a Super Bowl in the recent era with a top flight as far as paid tight end, or paid wide receiver. You go back and look at every Super Bowl winner in the last 15, 20 years, and you will not find a single Super Bowl champion with a top 10 paid wide receiver. Production, yes, you get top production out of a wide receiver or two even, but they're not paid like a top 10 wide receiver.
Well, you find a way because that offense is built around Deshaun Watson. Well, in order for him to be successful, you've got to put weapons around him. Will Fuller is a great wide receiver, but the guy can never stay healthy.
Right.
Kiki Cutie, what, He showed up a little bit last year, but where's he been? Brandon Cooks, man can't stay healthy either. Concussions.
Right.
David Johnson, okay, great. He hasn't been the same since he had his wrist issue.
Looked pretty good week 1.
Yeah.
Real good week 1.
But you have to build around Deshaun Watson. Just like on the defense, you got to build around Watt. And their secondary has always been an issue for as long as I can remember. But trading DeAndre Hopkins was a mistake. I think they should have kept him and had those two.
I don't think they could.
I
don't think they had the option.
I wanted to see him have a career like Manning and Harrison. Harrison.
Yeah.
Harrison. Played 10 years together. The reason why Will Fuller was so successful is because Hopkins always pulled double coverage.
Right, but Harrison was never a top 10 paid wide receiver. So unless you're willing to take a pay cut to stay with the team, how do we keep you in a modern salary cap era?
Well, I just think that their offense looks completely lost. I'm not surprised about their defense. It's always been their Achilles heel.
Mm-hmm.
Always. Secondary. So that's why I think they'll go 6-10 this year. I think the Jags, I think that their season is going to start going on the decline probably after 5th or 6th week. I think what we've seen the last 2 weeks is just a smokescreen, of no preseason and things like that. But I do think that their running back, James Robinson, excuse me, I think he will be a top 10 running back by the end of the year. He's got such great speed in between the tackles. He's very elusive. But I don't think the Vikings or the Texans have a good year. I think the Packers are going to win the NFC North. I don't think that the Patriots are going to win the Super Bowl. At the beginning of the year, I didn't even think they make the playoffs, but they're looking really good. But I think the Bills are going to win the AFC East. They're just a well-rounded unit. Defensively, last week they didn't do all that well, but they're a lot better than that. But offensively, Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs made the right choice going to Buffalo.
Well, he didn't exactly make that choice. He just made the choice to leave Minnesota. We sent him to Buffalo. You know what I mean?
Well,
he kind of got lucky.
Because
I think we sent him out there to fuck him, and it didn't work. It kind of backfired on us.
They have a good running tandem if they can just stay healthy, Singletary and Moss. I don't know. I think we're just going to start seeing a shift of the tide. I was kind of hoping deep down inside that the Browns would turn it around, but as long as Baker Mayfield's there, they're never going to do shit. Baker Mayfield sucks.
Yeah.
He's not a good quarterback.
No, he's terrible.
You've got so many weapons around you, and you're still losing games, and you're only scoring 17 points a game. That's pathetic.
They scored 35 against Cincy.
That's Cincy. Their defense is garbage. But the other thing this year, too, that's really frustrating is just weird is the injuries, man. McCaffrey, Barkley, Thomas,
It's what happens when you overwork a back. I mean, it's modern day NFL. No preseason, fucking shortened off-season programs. Strength and conditioning isn't there. Guys aren't in proper shape. They're overtrained to begin with. Their fucking muscles can do more than their tendons can. I mean, that's the thing is you can't strengthen ligaments and tendons. You just can't do it. There's no exercise. There's no supplements you take. And when you make your muscles as big as these guys are, they're the torque they put on their joints, the cuts, the fucking stops, the hits, the fucking all of that. Mm-hmm. You're just asking too much out of your body, and then the teams overwork them. They because the guys you just mentioned, right? Mm-hmm. Saquon, McCaffrey, they're workhorses.
Oh, yeah. McCaffrey injury was just it was inevitable just because how much they use them.
Same thing with Saquon,
right?
And this is why I have a problem. I don't care how good of a fucking running back you are. You don't build your offense around a running back. You don't overwork them. Mm-hmm. I mean, fuck, dude. This isn't rocket science. You build your offense around your quarterback's strengths, mm-hmm. and you build your offense to hide his weaknesses, if he has any, including injuries. Right? So, and then, like you said, you try to surround him with weapons, but whether he's a fucking franchise quarterback like a Deshaun Watson or he's a fucking game manager like Kirk Cousins, it doesn't matter. You still have to build your offense around what your quarterback can and cannot do, scheme-wise, schematically-wise. So regardless of whether the Vikings do or do not have Diggs, or regardless of whether the Texans do or do not have Hopkins, these coaches and coordinators need to be smart enough to redesign a new scheme. That's why Cam Newton looks like the second coming in New England. Think about this. Think about this, man. I want you to seriously think about this. We had 20 years of Tom Brady in New England, kicking ass, taking names, right? Drop back passer, fucking not a mobile guy, could like shift his shoulders and escape pressure, but he was always trying to make the throw.
Right.
The Patriots, like everyone else in this league, had a shortened offseason and no preseason.
Right.
And Cam Newton was a late offseason signing.
Yep.
He didn't sign back in January with everyone else.
Right.
They still had time to completely redesign their offense and look like a competitive football team.
Right.
Why can't the other teams do that? It's not rocket science.
Because they have Belichick.
But, dude, it's not rocket science.
I mean, when you got Belichick and you got McDaniels on the same team, you're bound to create magic no matter who's there.
But it's not like they just fucking shit out a game plan. We just talked about it. What do they do on defense? They take away, you said common denominator. Mm-hmm. They take away your best weapon. That's what they try to do. We're going to shut down the thing you're best at and let you beat us any other way.
Right.
And if you beat us, cool. On offense, we're going to literally do a combination of all the cliches you hear. We're going to take what the defense gives us. We're going to switch up our game plan, right? We're going to highlight our strengths. And New England's the best at it because we're not even talking about, we're going to go after this defensive back. It's like, no. Here's what we figured out how we're going to do. These three players or this segment of their defense, the linebackers or the safeties or their defensive ends, these guys are weak. So we're going to design plays to exploit that spot on the field.
Right.
And sometimes that's executed with Danny Amendola or Julian Edelman or James White, right? Like, could be anybody that week. Rex Burkhead, could be anybody. It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's how are we going to win this game?
Yep.
The Vikings don't do that. The Texans don't seem like they're doing that. So I'm not even arguing with anything you said. I'm just kind of elaborating on the idea of, like you said, you got to build the offense around Deshaun Watson. Your thing is, but you got to surround him with weapons. Well, we've seen the Vikings try to do that, and that doesn't matter either.
Right.
It's really none of it matters until the offense is actually designed around your quarterback, including every single play that is called.
Right.
And then it's just so frustrating to be a fucking Vikings fan, man, especially when you see it done correctly everywhere else.
Right.
It's just like, fuck, dude, you see Seattle, you see Green Bay, you see New England, you see these perennial teams that just like Andy Reid in both Philly and now in Kansas City. And it's like, it doesn't matter where these guys go. They build a culture and they build a system and they execute different schemes. They change their scheme, whether it's year to year based on the players that they have, or it's game to game based on the team they're playing.
Right.
It's not, Dude, I'm just so exhausted being a fucking Vikings fan, watching them beat their head against the wall.
It could be worse. You could be a Jets fan.
That's true, or I could be a Lions fan, or I could be a Browns fan.
Actually, I think things are going to start.
I could be a Texans fan.
I think.
When's the last time you won a playoff game?
I'd rather be a Texans fan than a Viking fan.
Really?
Yes.
Why? When's the last time you won a playoff game?
Last time we won a playoff game was 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
How far did you go?
We got to the second round. We got to the divisional playoff.
Cute.
round.
How many division titles do you have? None.
No.
None.
No.
None.
I think 2.
Not one.
I think 2.
I'm just kidding. It doesn't. None of these things actually matter.
2. But see, now I want to look it up.
No, and we should look it up because I'm spouting off at the mouth. But I'm just saying it doesn't really matter because y'all ain't done shit either. And how much worse would it be to be like a Dolphins fan, where you're one of the most prestigious organizations in the history of the league, and you're a literal laughingstock right now. You're the disease of the league. Or a Redskins fan, how bad would that be? You won 2 or 3 Super Bowls in the 80s.
No, the Washington football team. Got to get it right.
Oh, that's right. Yep. No, you got it.
They have 6 division championships.
That's surprising. And what have they got to show for it?
They have 6 playoff appearances. They were in the playoffs 2019, 18, 16, 15, and then 12 and 11.
And you just can't get over fucking Bill O'Brien.
I don't
just
like
keeps
him.
bringing you there, just keeps winning playoff games, but you're just not happy about it.
No, I'm not. I don't
rather have
like
Gary
the guy.
Kubiak back?
No.
I'll trade you Gary Kubiak right now for Bill O'Brien.
I don't want to coach it as a stroke at halftime on the field.
I will trade you right now, Gary Kubiak. You take him, then we'll take Bill O'Brien right now.
I've already suffered through the Kubiak years. I'm good. I'm good on that. I think the Rams are on a decline. Yeah, they've got good players, but I think their team's built around the run. And they just don't have any runners right now. I don't think Goff's as good as his contract thinks he is.
I agree.
Watch out for them Raiders, man. Watch out for them Raiders.
I mean, I'm a huge John Gruden fan. We'll see. I like David Carr. I liked his brother Derek. Or I just said that the other way around.
Oh, and guess who was the
first? Derek Carr.
Guess who the first quarterback in Texans history was?
Yeah, David Carr.
David
I know.
Carr.
And y'all fucked him. You broke that man's will and his spirit, and you ruined his career because you couldn't keep him upright.
Yeah, boy's got a successful career as a commentator now, so good.
And he's gorgeous. Stop it, you're gorgeous.
It's gorgeous.
Oh, I can't wait for my AR-15. I bought an AR-15 yesterday.
Oh, you don't have it yet?
Nope, because I got put on delay, which I always do. So I don't know if you know about this process, but first of all, you have to have a permit in Minnesota to buy one at all.
Right.
And then you still do a background check
for
each gun you purchase.
Mm-hmm.
And I must have similar enough information to someone, like same initials or something, to where they put me on what's called delay, meaning they need to look into something. I don't get to know what it is,
right?
But I don't ever get an automatic approval,
right?
But the law is if they don't say no within 3 days, I get my gun. Period. End of story. So at the end of 3 days, I think both these grays are mine. This is yours. You brought this. But the point being is it happens every time. And so I buy a gun. I have to wait 3 days and then I go pick it up. Because the government has never rejected me. They've never denied me for a weapon. Right. I don't have a criminal past at all. But there's some sort of information that flags me and needs to go to a some sort of further information. And so I have 72 hours.
What do they check? And I've read up on this because Jamie and I are thinking about getting, or we are going to be getting guns. What do they look for on the background check that I'm missing? Not missing anything, but I think I understand. But I know you can't be a felon. I know you can't you cannot have been in prison. But what are some other things that they look for?
I think it's gross misdemeanors, whether you're a legal citizen, if you have any restraining orders, if you're ever discharged from the armed services, If you've ever been committed for any major mental crazy shit, like, maybe charges were dropped, so you were never a criminally charged, but you did go to court and you made a plea and you had to go serve 2 years in a mental institution to avoid criminal charges. I think that's in there. And then also, like, what's the other one? There's one I just forgot about. That's kind of important, actually. Sex offender, obviously. If you're on any watch lists or crazy shit like that. And then if you have a medical marijuana card.
Really?
If you have a medical marijuana card, you are not allowed to own a weapon.
Why?
Because you're on heavy prescription drugs. You're on a mind-altering hallucinogen.
Seriously?
Yep.
Okay.
So don't get a medical marijuana card if you want a gun, basically, to anybody.
My doctor's
and actually, you may be able to buy a gun, but I think actually what the rule is you can never get a CNC permit. I think that's what it is. So but they're checking all kinds of shit is what I'm trying to answer your question. And it's like, I don't really know. I just know it's all of these things plus probably a million other things I don't know about.
I want to carry and conceal license as well as a license to purchase.
You need to get that process started now, because here's the thing: is your permit to purchase is covered by your CNC. So you go pay for the class. It's $100 now because of COVID. They do it online. It's easy. You sit at home.
Yep.
You watch the fucking videos, and then you walk in. You show them your receipt that you did it, and then you go through a shooting test. And so I advise you go buy a gun, right? Or rent one of theirs to train on.
Right.
And, fiddle around and figure it out before you take your test so you're comfortable with that weapon. And then you also know what you're going to buy. So once you get your fucking conceal and carry, which is also your permit to purchase, now you even know what gun you're going to buy. And all the paperwork, everything's already done. Boom. You just fucking walk in, you pay for it. Sometimes you could get approved in 15 minutes. Or you're like me, you get put on delay where I have to wait 3 days. Either way, it doesn't matter. You're getting a gun at that point because you got your CNC.
Right. Yeah.
This is the most important part. Let's say you paid for the class today. You watched all the videos tomorrow. Saturday, you came with me and we went shooting. And I'm getting there at 9 a.m. because I'm shooting my AR. I want to get used to it right away. Let's say by noon, you tested a bunch of guns, you rented a bunch of guns, you're like, this is the one I want. You show them your fucking thing, and you're like, I want to take the test with this gun. And they're like, okay, boom. They give it to you right there. Here's your certification. Now, because of COVID, you have to set an appointment downtown at your county sheriff, which in Hennepin County, where I'm at, are you in Anoka County?
Yes.
Might be a lot better in Anoka County. Might be a completely moot point in Anoka County. Right? Might be super easy. You might be able to go down that day. But no matter when you do it, it's a 30-day process. So you get your certificate from the gun range, you bring it down to the sheriff's office, you pay another $100, and then it's a 30-day screening process.
Do you just want to get refunded if you get denied?
No, it's a filing fee. You're paying for that.
All right.
But regardless, here's the point. If you don't get that fucking thing submitted by October 4th, you're not getting a gun before November 4th. Because if you do get put on delay, you still got another 3 days to wait. You see what I'm getting at here?
Right.
So you want to go in like now, try to get your permit filed within the next 2, 3, 4 days so you can get in on October 29th, October 30th, find a gun, buy a gun, and potentially wait 3 days. And then you have it on November 3rd for when the fucking end of the world starts and the demons come up from the fucking opening in the earth. That's my advice. If you're going to do it now. Quit procrastinating it and get it done. I got a buddy who just he's like, oh yeah, I'm part of this class. And he just keeps going like, and he keeps going because he's like, I really want to be ready for the test. It's like, you need to get that fucking test out of the way, dude, because he's probably not even going to file his shit till mid-October. I'm sorry, he's not even going to be able to try to make an appointment till mid-October. They're going to be like, the next appointment we have is December 23rd. And then he's got to wait another 30 days, so he'll be in January.
What kind of things do you have to do during the test?
Simple shoot.
That's it, huh?
I'll break it down for you afterwards. I can show you my target.
Mm-hmm.
It's a scored. So you have to, I think the total score is 250. I think you need a minimum score of like 180 to pass.
Mm-hmm.
I got 242. So it's not that hard. And it's like you fire 5 rounds with your right hand, 5 rounds with 2 hands, then like 10 rounds. So you do 5 and then load a new clip, 5. And then it's like 10, load a new clip, 10. And they do it at a couple different distances, 2 or 3 different distances, depending on where you go.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. You just got to fucking, it's score based. And where I go, if you fail, you can immediately take the test again. You can come back the next day and take the test again. You can do whatever you want.
Okay.
Like, it's not like you. I made it a way bigger deal than it was. I did my class and then went 2 more times.
Yeah.
Just to make sure. Because I also wanted to try to get as close to perfect as I could.
Right.
You know what I mean? I really wanted to get 250. And I got cocky because I had already passed. I was counting as I was going.
Right.
And knew I'd already passed. So on the very last round at the farthest distance with one hand, I was like, I'm going for the headshots. And I hit them, but that dropped my score. I lost 1 point per shot.
Right.
With the headshots, so I didn't get my perfect score that I was going for. But I also wanted to prove to myself that I could do that. Like, if I really need to shoot somebody in the head instead of the chest, can I? Can I? Under pressure? Because I'm being tested right now. Right. My adrenaline was going. You know, I was a little jacked up. I was pretty proud of myself. I didn't think I would do as well as I did under pressure.
Did you use the gun that you showed me last time I was here? Your handgun?
My Smith & Wesson, Yeah, I got the shield, if anybody's curious.
Where's your shotgun? You usually have it in the corner.
I stopped keeping it down here. It was making people nervous.
Really?
Yeah, I'll bring it back down after the podcast. But yeah, I put it upstairs just because people start getting nervous. It's like, well, you have a shotgun down here. It's like, because I can't see who's coming down the stairs just in case some crazy shit happened, and I can't hear a goddamn thing.
So now what do you have to protect yourself if you don't know who's coming down the stairs? Nothing?
No, I got something. I ain't saying it out loud on the podcast. It's something a little more discreet, something a little bit more hidden. I keep my hand.
We're definitely gonna get on it like quick. I can't do it in the next 3 days because I got to work. But yeah, we were just talking about that a couple days ago. We
jump on it, man.
We got to do it.
Dude, I'm so excited for my AR-15. It's ridiculous. I love it. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful piece of machinery. And I'm almost done buying guns now. So I got 2 shotguns, one for me and one for Kate. I got a 12 gauge and a 20 gauge. I have my carry gun, which I might give to her for her carry gun if she can't find one and pick one soon. She's got like 2-3 days too. I'm like, no, you're getting this. You're picking one.
Right.
Like, we're not procrastinating this any longer. So she'll either get mine and I'll look for a new one.
Right.
So we'll have 2 shotguns, 2 handguns for carry weapons. I got the AR-15. I want to get her an AR-15. And then whether she gets another gun for the house or not is up to her, but I'm getting another gun strictly for home defense, and I'm going to get a 45 tactical. So it's going to it's a full-size 45, and I will get a silencer on it. And people are like, dude, that seems insane. You're not a fucking assassin. What are you, John Wick? You don't need a silencer for home defense. And it's like, yes, you do. And here's why. Because in the middle of the night, it's dark in the room, and you're going to be woken up and startled. If I grab that gun and I shoot it without some sort of suppressor or silencer, they're basically the same thing, right? The muzzle flash in a dark room is going to blind me.
That bright, huh?
Yeah. In a dark room, yes.
Right.
When you just wake up in the middle of the night, absolutely. Your eyes haven't adjusted, nothing, right? You're coming out. And then it's also loud as fuck. So your ears are going to be ringing. You're going to be like, oh, fuck. So your ears are ringing. Now you got a little bit of fucking... It's just, I mean, think about it, dude. If you walk into a room and somebody turns on the light real quick, even just for 1 second, you're like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Right? And it's a light. It's a regular light. It's not even a muzzle flash from a gunpowder explosion, right?
Right.
The silencer or the suppressor will make it a little bit quieter, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it will also make the flash a little bit less dramatic, which will allow me to... Because here's the point, dude. If I roll over and grab my 9mm, like, I'm probably going to hit you. But if I miss you or I wing you and that muzzle flash goes and then I'm, like, partially deaf, you've got a millisecond to rush me. And I may not even fucking have the ability to get a second shot off. The 45's a bigger gun. It's a bigger bullet. There's less recoil. I think they're all subsonic rounds by default. Don't get me wrong on that. But subsonic means that the only noise... Because there's two noises when you shoot a gun. Now, you perceive them simultaneously. But there's the gunpowder explosion, which launches the bullet. And then the second one is when the bullet breaks the sound barrier. Okay? Subsonic bullets have a little bit less gunpowder in them, or the same amount of gunpowder, but they have a heavier bullet. So either way, it's mass times velocity. They don't break the sound barrier. That's what subsonic means. So the bullet it never breaks the sound barrier. So right off the bat, it's a quieter gunshot. Plus, you get the silencer on there or the muzzle brake or the suppressor. That's also going to make it a little bit quieter because it's going to try to make the explosion quieter as it comes out of all of that. You see what I'm getting at here?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the flash coming out of the muzzle isn't going to be there at all. So therefore, you come rolling through the bedroom in the middle of the night. I hit you with the 45. I'm going to get 3 or 4 in you and have no issues. Like, I'm not going to deafen myself. I'm not going to fucking blind myself. I'm going to be able to see everything I'm doing. And a bigger gun, like a full-size 45, believe it or not, has less recoil than a 9mm. But a full-size 45 is a fucking big gun to carry out on the street. That's why you go get something tiny.
Right.
You know what I mean? But they're louder. They're harder to handle because the fucking recoil. The shorter a gun you make it, the more recoil you have. So you just got to be careful and know that they're just like guitars, you know, or hammers. They're tools, and they each have a different application. That's why I don't think people understand. They're like, why do you have so many guns? Nobody needs that many guns. It's like, yeah, you do. Once you understand, like, oh, all you need is a rifle and a shotgun. It's like, dude, a shotgun is only good in certain spots, right? Yeah. Like a handgun is only good in certain situations. A hunting rifle or a fucking... I've been locked on you this whole time. A hunting rifle or a fucking, even a fucking AR-15. Mm-hmm. All of these guns are ideal in certain situations and less ideal in other situations. Mm-hmm. So they're like tools, you know? And I'm not planning to fucking fight the cops. I'm not planning to overthrow the government. I'm not planning to defend myself against the cops or defending myself against the military because I'm so sick of hearing that. Even with the 2 shotguns and an AR, bro, you're not fighting the government with your little fucking... They're going to roll over you in 2 seconds. That's not the point. The point is to delay them so Kate can get out. So Kate can live. Just buy her enough time. And I have the right to go down with a fight. Yeah, I know I'm going to die. There's 35 fucking military people and cops out there taking over the neighborhood. It's a fucking civil war. I don't
Have you
care.
seen a lot of things around here lately?
No. Our neighborhood is like, our block specifically, super peaceful. But shit's going down just 4 or 5 blocks up the road in each direction. Shit's really hitting the fan, just not here. We unified after the riots. The rest of the motherfuckers haven't figured it out yet. I'm not trying to preach or anything or get cocky, but I'm serious. Like, no, our neighborhood, our block, we don't fuck around. We self-police.
Well, I mean, that's good. I mean, and I know what you're talking about up here, about how crazy it can get. I lived up here when I was 15 and 16. But I say if a man wants to defend his home with any means necessary, then by all means, go ahead. As long as you're not out there shooting up people and killing innocent lives, then you have the right to do what you want.
Dude, and I'll tell you, when you take that conceal and carry permit, you realize real quick how hard it is to legally get away with using your weapon in public. Like, when you take that class and you pay attention and you take it seriously, when you get done with that class, you'll be out in public and you'll go, if this happened right here, right now, nope, still can't use it. Oh, if this happened right here, right now, oh, I could use it, but I'd have to do X, Y, and Z immediately afterwards. And then you also know, I'm probably going to jail. I'm probably going to get charged. And I'm probably going to have to go to court and win a legal battle. So when you do get your conceal and carry permits, look into liability insurance. You can buy personal liability insurance if you ever have to use it.
Right.
They automatically jump in and help you out on the legal side with both funds and representation. It's insurance, just like anything else.
Well, I would think that they would have that. I mean, you do own something that can kill somebody. I mean,
right.
Same with a car.
And we talked about this earlier. That's what we want cops to have, but they don't. But if I'm gonna have a gun and run around on the street with it, I'm having that insurance. So if I have the common sense to have it, why wouldn't you have it as a cop?
Right.
That's it's fucking, it is what it is, dude.
So do they give you a hard time when they're asking for your ID and you're not giving it over to them? I mean,
the cops?
Yeah.
Yeah, they give me a real hard time. But I know my rights. I stand my ground, and if they want to escalate it, they can.
Mm-hmm.
But the more of a scene they make it, I know that now there's probably people filming. You know what I mean? So I try to think strategically and use all those situations to my advantage. Like, sure, call more backup. Get 6 squads out here and make sure all you have your cherries on. Because nothing is happening. No crimes have been committed. And you're going to make fools out of yourselves. And I honestly, part of me kind of wants them to violate my civil rights so I can sue their asses and get some fucking money. Get this podcast off the ground. I'll take 11 mil. Shit, I'll take 2 mil. You give me 2 mil, I'll take 2 mil. I'll go buy $100,000 house, turn it into a studio and a podcast room, and fucking put some money in the college fund for the future kids. Take the wife on vacation, even if I only have fucking one leg.
Let me ask you something. Do you think speeding is committing a crime?
Technically, it is.
So when you get pulled over for speeding,
yeah, you got to show your license.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is I'm not driving in these scenarios.
Right.
When we get pulled over, I'm in the passenger seat.
Right.
I committed no crime. You have no right to ID me.
Right. No, and I completely agree. It's just the last time I dealt with a cop was probably last November, December of 2019. And it was only like 5 minutes, man. He pulled me. I was on my way home from work. It was late. It was like midnight. I was on 100 North. And I was doing 75 and a 60. And he was just coming on the on-ramp. And he pulled me over. And he came over. And he's like, license, registration, whatever. I'm like, yeah, sure. Like, where are you coming from? I'm like, well, I'm coming from Rosemount. He's like, where do you live? I said, Coon Rapids. And that's like a 45-minute drive. He's like, what the hell are you doing there? I was like, I'm working. And it was just cool. Like, he went back to the car, came back, and he gave me a ticket, but it was only for 7 miles an hour over the speed limit, so it was cheaper, which was nice. And then I got to leave. The reason I'm saying this is because I just don't understand these jackasses that make it so hard, and they say,
I think I know. Keep going. I think I know what you're getting at, though. Yeah,
I'm traveling. Like they say, I'm not driving, I'm traveling. The license is well, I can't think of it right now, and they don't want to roll down their windows, and the windows get smashed, get dragged out of the car, yada yada yada. So what is your stance on something like that? Like, you say give over a license or whatever, but
yeah, but here okay, so I get pulled over for a traffic stop. He comes up, license and registration, please, or license and insurance. I hand those over.
Okay, then you're good.
He goes, where are you going, or where are you coming from? This is my response. I'm not discussing my day with you.
That's what you would tell him?
Yep. I'm not discussing my day with you. And then if they try to say some weird shit, then my next question, because I already know I'm being suspected of a crime because he pulled me over while I'm driving.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't even have to tell me what the crime is. But I know through this legal gesture, I'm being suspected of some sort of a crime.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't ask that question. But when he asks me, like, so where are you going? Where are you coming from? Whatever. I'm not discussing my day with you. Anything else he says, I ask, am I being detained? And he has to answer yes or no.
Mm-hmm.
And if he says no, then you ask, am I free to leave? And he'll say, no, I have to write you a ticket or whatever.
Right.
But if he says yes, then he has to arrest you. You see what I'm saying? So basically, when you just go, I'm not discussing my day. And I've already, in this hypothetical, which has happened 100 times, I've already given him my license and insurance card because I have to. That's the law.
Right.
But when he asks me, where are you going? Where are you coming from? Any of that kind of shit, I'm not discussing my day with you.
Mm-hmm.
Any other question he asks, any other thing he says, the only thing I say is, am I being detained or am I free to go? No matter how he answers that question, it really doesn't matter. I don't say another fucking word. You literally just don't speak. It's that simple. It really, I swear to God.
Oh, I believe you.
That's it. You cooperate, but you don't talk.
Right.
Get out of the vehicle. Okay, get out of the vehicle, but don't fucking say anything. Do you consent to me searching your vehicle? Don't say anything. Let them search your vehicle, but don't consent to it because now it can't be used, right? Unless they get a warrant.
Mm-hmm.
Or unless they've stated, we're stopping you on suspicion of selling marijuana. Yeah. Then they see what I'm saying. So
it has to be a reasonable doubt.
And then you leave it to your lawyers to figure out that shit in the courtroom, at trial. That's how you handle it, man. The problem is when people are stopped or being suspected of legitimate crimes and then they don't cooperate or refuse or resist or escalate the situation. Or like one time I seen a video of a woman got pulled over and she refused to speak or even cooperate with the police officer, even though she was being pulled over for a traffic violation, and demanded a sheriff. She's like, it's my constitutional right. It's like, no, you don't have a constitutional right to pick which police force pulls you over or tickets you. That's not how any of this works. So you do have to cooperate, but you do not have to let them violate your rights. And that's really the difference, is knowing what your rights are and what your rights aren't. And then most of all, just being reasonable. Like, even when you're fucking gonna being a dick and standing up for yourself and not allowing them to push you around, still be respectful and be reasonable. Like, you can be an asshole. You can even swear at a cop. None of those are laws. Just be reasonable and be respectful. And if you do those things, even when you're like mad and heated and shit, it's not going to escalate. I've seen people of all colors and genders do that. You can talk a cop down. And that's another thing that's kind of a sad reality, is like, that's what you have to do. Because cops are trained to escalate shit. Literally, they're trained to escalate things and get you to commit a crime. Even on a basic traffic stop. They're trained on a basic traffic stop to get you to admit or bust you committing more crimes, right? So
why would they do that?
Because
money?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. It's revenue collection and quotas. Because even if it's not, we need to find more tickets, it's not even that. It's the more criminals we bust, the more our funding goes up. If we don't bust enough criminals, if we don't find enough crime, then they're going to say they don't need us and our budget goes down. Which is sad. You know what I mean? Because you would think like, oh man, that's not the right thing to do. That's the point. It's not the right thing to do. And this is not Jared's theory on policing. This is documented. This is proven. We know this is how it works. That's why a lot of people just say they're fucking glorified tax collectors. That's all they are. They're revenue collectors. Like, you got good cops that go out and bust rapists and murderers and they deal with the real shit. And then you got traffic cops that are fucking revenue collectors for the state. That's all they are tax collectors. It's just another way for the government to get money out of people.
Right.
And they're petty, man. They're petty. The shit they fucking regulate and get you on, your license plate light is out.
Yeah.
You can still read it, can't you?
Yeah. But they'll say no, they can't read it. No,
Doesn't matter if I can read it. Regulation is both lights. All lights must be on and active and operating in perfect condition.
I understand exactly. You know, there have been some cops in my life that have made my life difficult, but I've met some really cool ones too. You know, I just wish that it's just an abuse of power. I mean, that's all it is. They
Right.
You know, yes.
Have you ever heard?
Yes, they have to give it the meet quotas and make money and whatnot, but I think they're drunk on their power.
Have you ever heard of the Stanford Prison Experiment?
Yes.
They made a movie about this.
Yes.
With Forrest Whitaker and Adrian Brody.
I'm gonna say yes because that sounds really familiar.
That's all. That's all. That's all I need to say. Like, that's all that needs to be said to summarize how people act when given power. I believe it's called The Experiment. The movie's called The Experiment, but it's based on the Stanford Prison Experiment. And I think it's Forrest Whitaker and Adrian Brody.
Yeah, I'll find it. But
you didn't find it? Just type in Adrian Brody, Forrest Whitaker.
Hang on, I got it.
You'll find it because I want to verify which one it is.
Where's that? 2015, right?
Sounds right. It's probably older than that though.
Billy Crudup, Michael Angiorano.
I don't know. Just show me the fucking picture, dude. Jesus Christ.
It's not. For some reason, it's not.
So these look like pictures from the real thing.
No, it's for the film.
Yeah, but these look like pictures from the real thing. You know how sometimes, because it's based on a real event,
right?
No, there's like a major motion picture based on this.
Right, that's the film right there.
It's not called the Stanford Prison Experiment. This is a documentary. I'm telling you, the movie's not called the Stanford Prison Experiment. That's a documentary. I'm talking. It's a movie. It's a fucking. That might be.
Oh, here we go.
That might even be better, dude.
No, it's called The Experiment.
That's what I said. I think the movie's called The Experiment.
Adrian Brody, Forrest Whitaker.
Thank you. Okay, yes. Watch that movie. Then go ahead and watch that. And then go ahead and watch the other documentary, right? And then go do some fucking internet research, watch some more fucking YouTube clips, read the Wikipedia, and then next time you come on, which will probably be between episode 30 and 40.
Okay.
Then we'll reapproach how, if at all, your opinion has changed on the idea of police brutality and like that. Because that's why I'm not like, no, that's stupid, and anybody who wants to defund the police is an idiot. That's why I don't dismiss it. Because this I see happen on the streets with regular street cops all the time. And it's not something that's only happened since Trump's in office. That's what pisses me off about the fucking left when they try to say that this is Trump's America. No, it's fucking not, dude. This shit started back in 1994 with a 1994 crime bill that was written by Joe fucking Biden, the guy you're trying to tell me you want to be president right now. And on top of that, the first major fucking police brutality issue, including the last time somebody said I can't breathe and died, all of that shit happened under Obama. This shit started in about 2012 to 2014. This is not new. This is not something that just popped up because of Trump. This is not something that popped up because an alleged white supremacist was elected. This shit happened while we had a black fucking president on his second term. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, but the left won't put this into perspective. Nope, it's all the rights problem. It's all white supremacy. Get fuck off with that white supremacy bullshit. I'm a fucking Jew. You know how fucking irritating it is to hear people call something white supremacy, which we just went through like literally 70 years ago. That isn't fucking white supremacy. It's like, no, that's racism, which is awful. But white supremacy is a very specific thing that gets into like puritizing bloodlines and eugenics and shit. We're talking a completely different ethical level. White supremacy is not the number one problem facing America. Division is the number one problem facing America. It's as simple as that. This isn't fucking rocket science. I'm not trying to change the world and act like I just fucking broke the internet. But it's not white supremacy, you guys. It's fucking division. Somehow thinking that we're different because you're Italian and I'm Jewish is not what this country was founded on. It's the unity that we're both American, and it doesn't matter if the Italians, the Romans, enslaved the Jews or not. It doesn't fucking matter, because that was a long time ago. And your people that did that to my people aren't alive anymore. And we have more in common than we have in difference.
Right.
So we choose not to focus on those things, and instead we chose to focus on the things we have in common, like our love of movies, sports, and music, and we build a relationship on those commonalities and move forward with that, instead of trying to find every fucking petty difference that comes across our fucking plate, and then deciding whether, if you don't agree with me on this issue, then you're the bad guy, you're evil, like you said.
Right.
Even if we don't agree, you have your own opinions, you're your own person, and nobody agrees on everything 100% of the time. Find one person in your life that agrees with every single thing you say and think. No one, ever. And I'm not even talking to Nick right now. I'm talking to some random lefty who feels like I'm attacking him right now. Okay. Your mom, your dad, your brother, your wife, your girlfriend, your best friend. No one agrees on everything. So why should that be suddenly like that in politics? What the fuck are you talking about? Like, are you people drunk? Seriously. And same thing with the fucking right. The right does it too, man. I'm not giving the right a pass right now. They offed Tommy Loren and fucking something Hasselback because the bitches weren't conservative enough, because they were pro-choice. And they were pro-choice because their conservative beliefs said, I'm small government. And they were like, nope, not conservative enough. You're off the team. Go fuck yourself. You're all drunk. They're all drunk, and they're drunk on power. That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's just all about power. Which side can have the most power? And it's playing out in our streets to a very scary level. Having children, it's scary today. Guns, sure. Have as many as you want. It's your prerogative. Cops, I just abide the law. I don't do anything stupid like some of these idiots. And
they say a polite society, or an armed society, is a polite society.
I've heard that. As long as I can continue to work, provide for my family, that's all I want. I just want peace and quiet. Because the older you get, the quieter you want it to get. The music, the movies. And I follow as much as I need to. So
that's the real problem. Young people.
I'm not. Yeah. Like they say, the youth is wasted on the young. They take such advantage of their opportunities and how they can make a difference in this country.
Here's what they don't take advantage. They don't take advantage, and they take it for granted.
I know. I mean, I see that stuff with my kids, not to that degree, but there's times.
Oh, come on, man! I busted that little shit saying one day.
Who?
I'm not going to name
my son or daughter.
Yeah, I'm not going to name him. I'm not going to name drop your kid and fucking shame him on the internet. Someday this will get back to his fucking school. And they'll be like, "Oh, do it!" But I heard him go, "I don't do change." At Easter one time, I heard him say,
"I don't do change."
Yeah, because you know how we do the Easter eggs. There's like $20 in quarters.
Right.
He had like $5, $6, $7, $8, and he just gave it to so and so, and someone's like, "Dude, there's something all over my beard." And he gave it to one of the other kids, and we were like, "What the hell, dude? That's like $5, $6." And he goes, "Yeah, I don't do change."
Well, that's.
Dude, I started laughing so fucking hard. Dude, I made fun of him.
How long ago was this?
Just a year or two ago. Last time we were at Easter.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I ripped that kid for the rest of the day.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that being said.
Like, you need to get down on some Ben Franklin quotes with that little shit. You know what I mean? Like, see a penny, pick it up.
Elijah, he has a lot of dreams and aspirations, and you know what? He's super smart. He's flying right? He's
How do
flying.
y'all afford that?
No, it's free.
What?
Yeah.
Why? Because he's a kid?
No, it's part of a club. It's part of iron something or other.
How do I join?
It just go there and fill out the paperwork.
And it's free? And I can
As
fly a
far-
plane?
As far as I know,
And I can learn how to fly a plane.
like a single engine plane. Yeah. You have to. God, what? Oh, I can't remember the name of it. He goes to it all the time. Yeah, he has like. He said he had like 5 hours, 6 hours of. No, it was more than that of fly time. He's got a logbook, so every time he goes there, he goes to the Blaine Airport, and he goes up into the sky for like I don't know 10, maybe 15 minutes. He even has with his computer, he has a
simulator?
yoke. Do you know what a yoke is with the feet?
Yeah.
He's got that. He's got a simulator on his computer, which is pretty sweet. And he has I don't know what
Throttle.
the name is. Throttle.
Throttle.
Yeah, he's got it all. Like you're sitting in a plane. It's really cool.
How much does that cost?
He bought it all himself from his job.
But how much does it cost? Like the flight simulation, like all
hold
this
on.
stuff.
It's I want to say 250, maybe 3.
Oh fuck, guys! I think I'm gonna get a new hobby. If it's this affordable, god damn it! I don't need a new hobby.
While we're talking, I'm gonna text him and find out. I don't think he pays. I think it's free. I really do. I don't think
There's something all over the outside of that beer, and it's like it feels like, dude. Seriously, it's like you feel that.
Why the fuck
that,
you
like,
putting it on me?
It's like an oily substance.
Well, thanks for rubbing it on me.
You're welcome. I don't want you to feel left out.
Appreciate it. Thank you. So I see a little bit of that attitude from my kids. I mean, it's the days we live in. I'm more laid back than my parents were, so I let my kids get away with some stuff. But good kids.
Have they pulled the shut up prank on you yet?
Yes. Well, you know what? I tried doing it. It didn't
To
work.
Jamie?
Yeah. It got her for about probably 3 seconds, but then like I think either Kira or myself started smiling, and then once you smile, you know it's that. But damn it, my footages.
I would still hit my kid. Even after I found out it was break, I'd hit him harder.
No.
Yeah, I'd hit him harder, and then I'd hit my wife.
Why? Why? What did she do?
It's a sick and twisted game you fucks are playing, and you need to learn a lesson.
So are you planning on having any kids anytime soon, man?
Yeah, we're trying to start a family.
How old are you? 36?
Yep.
Oh yeah, man, brother.
I mean, I'm
Well,
fine, dude.
you
Here's
can
the thing,
now.
dude. Here's the thing, dude. Is I'm in a way better shape physically and mentally than most people at 35, 36. So I'm not gonna mind being an old dad. Like by the time I become a dad, I'm really gonna appreciate it. And people are like, "Oh, but you're not gonna be able to run around with your kid." Why? Because your fucking old ass couldn't fucking run at 50. Like I'm gonna be fine. Like I'm a very athletic person. I got good fucking genes. I take care of my body. Even though I drink a lot, I don't fucking get shit-faced hammered drinking whiskey and fucking shit like that. I drink beers. You know what I mean? Like, and the older I get, the less I drink too. So by the time I'm fucking 40, 50 years old, I'm probably not going to be drinking hardly at all. I'll be that guy drinking light beer, and I'll have one on Sunday. You know what I mean? After I mow the lawn before the football. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I'm not that worried about it. Because that's the number one thing people bring up is like, oh, you're going to be an old dad. I'm like, cool.
Well,
I definitely didn't want to be a young dad.
if you believe you can do it, man, then my hat's off to you. Best of luck. I'm sure that you guys will get it done. How old is your wife?
Same age. She's a year or two younger than me. Like 34.
But if you feel like you can have a child at
33?
you
I think she turns 34 this year.
because man, honestly, once they become like 8 or 9 or maybe 7, it's so easy. I mean, yeah, you got the everyday shit of picking up from school and homework and yada yada yada, but it's not like when they're
Right.
newborn babies, toddlers. That takes a lot out of you. But after that, it's a cakewalk.
Here's the 2 parts I'm looking forward to the most. Up to 7 or 8 when they get ugly. Are you busy? Should I wait?
No, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Are you sure?
Yeah, go
No,
ahead.
we can wait. It's not like we're on the internet
No,
doing a live podcast
I'm
or anything.
asking my wife if he pays anything for his flying, so I can tell you.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That was awfully rude of me.
I can't wait till they're like 7 or I'm excited for them being like 7 to 8 until they turn ugly, because you know what I'm talking about when they start losing teeth and they just get really ugly for about 4 or 5 years.
Cute. Dude, it's cute. It really is. Go ahead.
All kids get ugly for about 4 or 5 years, somewhere between 7, 12, 13, somewhere in there.
Yeah, well, you haven't seen a newborn been
Yeah, I have.
born.
I've seen yours.
No, I mean there when it's happening.
Yeah, I have. I was there for Jackson. I didn't see him come out of the vagina, but I seen him as soon as he came out of the vagina. I was standing off to the side, and I was standing there holding my mom's hand.
Right.
And so, yeah, I seen him fucking come out of the sheet, and fucking doctor lifted him up. And
did you see the geyser of fluids that come flying out?
No,
the baby. You didn't see that? Yeah, that was fun.
Nope.
Jamie, my wife had an episiotomy. I cut her a little bit to help. Of course, she was numbed up, but I'm just like, I saw it, and I'm just like, oh man, that's rough.
I heard it. I heard it, and it was like,
sounds like
it was like this weird clicking, almost like a snapping sound, like a.
Yeah, it's not a pleasant thing to have to see.
On that note, we've been going 2.5 hours. Let's start wrapping this up.
Okay.
We'll take the turn for the home stretch. So what were we just talking about? Oh yeah, I said I was looking forward to these 2 phases. I'm looking forward to up until they're about 7 or 8 when they get really ugly and gross. Then I'm like going to be out for a few years. And I'm going to check out, be like, all right, tap me back in when they're 12, 13. They start hitting puberty again. And then it'll be really cool when they're first going through puberty, because they start getting more into they start getting good at things is what I'm really getting at. Right. At 12, 13, 14, they start to really start to develop some skills, whether it be sports or music or hobbies. They really start to round out their own personality. Right. And then it's going to suck for a few years again, really suck, because fuck you, Dad. That whole phase, fucking, you don't understand what I'm going through. That whole thing, you know what I'm talking about? And and then once they hit about 16, 17, I'm looking forward to that phase, because then they start
becoming an adult.
Yeah, and going out into the real world, and again, they just start taking their skills and their personality to the next level.
Oh yeah, it's exciting.
And then I won't be an empty nester, because I'll be an old dad, and I'll be there and present. So Kate and I already have the plan. They don't have a choice. They're going away to college, and we're selling everything, buying an RV, and traveling around the continent. Not even just America. We're going to go to Canada, Mexico, South America. We're going to drive as far as we can drive and just live on the road. We'll still own rental properties and shit, so we have still have some passive income.
The age that my son is at now, it's starting to get really exciting, because he's going to have to start looking for colleges soon. He's going to be driving soon on his own. So it is exciting to see it unfold. And I'm I'm one of those parents, and I don't mean to sound like my son is the greatest thing, the best kid in the world, but very smart kid, and I see him being successful, and as a dad, it really makes you happy. I mean, he's definitely doing a lot better than I did. And my daughter, and my daughter is coming around, and she's getting smarter and taller and more beautiful every day. And before you know it, she'll be 18 and be boys, and that's a whole nother level. And then hopefully I'm alive long enough to see grandkids.
I hope if we have more than one kid, and I got to pick how it went down. Twin boys to start it off. And then if we only have one more, then a girl.
Right.
If we have 2 more, I want another boy and then a girl. And I want the girl to be the youngest one, so I'm not the only one who can protect her, because I won't be around enough. Especially if I have 2 twin boys and then another boy and then a girl. By the time they're in high school, I'll have twins who are seniors and juniors. I'll have another one who's a year behind them, and I'll have her who's a year behind them. So any party she wants to go to, they got 3 older brothers to worry about, and 2 of them are at the top of the school. And twins, I'm fascinated by having twin sons, because if you notice, when twins learn how to do things together, they dominate. Music, sports, and not just twins, even just brothers. Like the Sedin twins in hockey, you know,
I know.
fucking the Van Halen boys. There's a lot of them, man.
I'm a twin, right?
I did know that.
Yeah.
Just not identical, right?
Right, fraternal.
Yeah. But you guys never started a band together. That's the problem.
No. We played sports together, baseball.
The Coen brothers is another one.
Yeah.
You know, the fucking.
Are they twins?
I don't think so.
But
they're brothers,
right?
You know, and that's what I was really getting at. Twins, it just shortens the time my wife has to fucking be pregnant. You know what I mean? Let's bang 2 out at once. And she's down with it. She's like, that'd be great. Like, honestly, she's even like, if we have twin boys, I might just be done. And I'm like, okay. I mean, if you want to have another one, I'm really hoping. I do want a girl.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't want the oldest to be a girl, and I don't want to have all girls. Like, I think you kind of got the best of both worlds. Like, you got your firstborn son, then you got a daughter. That's great.
Right.
If we're going to have multiple kids, I want the majority of them to be boys, because I don't want to fucking go through what so many people have gone through, which is like,
well, I mean,
I don't want 3 daughters.
3, yes, I could see that being difficult. But Kira's, you know, she's 10 now, and she'll be 11 soon. I'm starting to see that personality change, that independence. Like with Elijah.
I just think it's easier as a dad. My perception is going into this is that it'll be easier if my daughter's the youngest one, for what I said earlier, but also because then, like, when the boys are the older ones, like, I kind of have a relationship with the boys, and then I have a different special relationship with the girls, and the boys won't be offended by that because they'll understand, because they'll be older and we'll have our thing.
Right.
But if I have 2 girls, right, and then a couple years later we have a boy, the girls will be like, oh, well, how come you know, we didn't have that kind of relationship, and it's harder for them to understand, like, because you're a fucking girl, like, we have a special relationship that he'll never have,
right? Yeah.
But you see what I'm saying? Whereas, like, and maybe I'm just oversimplifying it. I don't think I'm overthinking it. I think I'm oversimplifying it, but either way, at the end of the day, I just feel like in an ideal scenario, like, do twin boys. If we're going to go up to 4 kids, then find another boy and then a girl. But even twin boys and then twin girls would be fine. But,
well, all I can say to you guys is best of luck.
Twins run in both sides of our family.
Well,
that's why we keep talking about twins.
Yeah, you may very well have twins. Twins runs on my mom's side. Wish you the best. These grays in my beard ain't all from life and work. Some of them are from the kids, so that'll definitely give you some grays.
I believe it.
And don't forget, you owe me $22.
For what? Oh, for smokes. That's right. Because you got me smokes on the way here. Yeah, that's fine. I'll just sell it to you. You got like U.S. Bank or Wells Fargo?
I got
something?
Wells Fargo.
Yeah, I'll just sell it to you. I'll do it before we leave too. Have I played you the demo?
What demo?
Of my project with vocals on it?
Oh yeah,
I have.
You did it last time. I was here with.
Gotcha.
What's his name?
Gotcha. All right, man. Follow Nick if you guys are interested in this movie reviews. I know we're kind of in the movie abyss because of COVID, but reviews for you at Facebook or on Facebook, whatever. So facebook.com/reviews for you. It's all spelled out. I also put the link in the description, so you guys should be good on that. Like, comment, share, subscribe. If you guys want to follow me, it's all Jared Singer Live, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that. Peace out, guys.
Later.